I collect attributes in the apocalypse. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276 What are the benefits? The next morning, after getting up and eating, Li Zihan followed Lin Fan's instructions and went out to meet people from other family forces. Of course, Muranzhu and Muran Shen also followed Li Zihan. After they all left, Lin Fan stayed in the villa for a while before leaving. The Qinglong Gang base is very large, and the place where the trade fair will be held is located in the north of the base. Lin Fan was bored and decided to go to the north to take a look and see how luxurious the trade fair venue built by the Qinglong Gang is. When he walked out of the villa, as expected, one of the people Liu Feng arranged to monitor them quietly followed him. Lin Fan did not expose anything, as if he did not know that someone was following him, and continued to walk on the road in a swagger. When he walked out of the villa area and came to the road leading directly to the trade fair venue, suddenly, a voice came from behind him. "Brother, wait a minute." Lin Fan looked around and saw that there was no one else in front of him. It seemed that the voice was calling him. He turned around and saw a boy about 23 or 24 years old walking towards him. "Are you saying hello to me?" Lin Fan looked at the boy and asked. "Yes," the boy nodded and walked in front of him. "If you don't mind, let's get to know each other." The boy stretched out a hand to Lin Fan. Lin Fan stretched out his hand and shook his hand. "Feng Zhou," the boy also said his name. "Surname Fang?" Lin Fan's eyes flashed, and he asked, "Are you from the Fang family?" "Yes," Feng Zhou nodded. The Fang family is a big family in Zhonghai province. Although the overall power is not as strong as the former Zhuang family and the current Li family, it is not much different. Of course, Lin Fan learned this information from Li Zihan, otherwise he would not know it. "Do you have anything to do with me?" Lin Fan asked again. He was sure that this was the first time he met Feng Zhou, and he had never had any dealings with him before. The other party took the initiative to come to him to get to know him. If he said it was just to make friends, he would not believe it anyway. There must be something going on. Seeing that Lin Fan asked so directly, Feng Zhou didn't want to beat around the bush. He touched his head and said, "Well, what is your relationship with Li Zihan?" Lin Fan was slightly startled. Feng Zhou thought he had said something wrong, and quickly added, "Don't get me wrong. I just saw that you guys live in the same villa, and your last name is not Li, so I am a little curious about the relationship between you and Li Zihan." "Why? You want to know Li Zihan through me?" Lin Fan smiled. "Ahem." Feng Zhou coughed dryly, which was considered as tacitly agreeing with Lin Fan's question. "Do you like her?" Lin Fan asked again. No. Feng Zhou quickly shook his head in denial. But from his expression and eyes, Lin Fan had already got the answer. This guy just likes Li Zihan. Observing words and expressions, this is something Lin Fan is very good at, and Feng Zhou couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. "Since you are not willing to tell the truth, then we have nothing to say. Goodbye." After Lin Fan finished speaking, he walked forward. He wanted to test whether this guy would continue to be stubborn or admit the fact that he liked Li Zihan. If Feng Zhou continued to be stubborn and refused to admit it, then he really didn't plan to say more to Feng Zhou. After all, Feng Zhou didn't dare to admit that he was going to continue lying about a topic that even he had seen through. It was not an exaggeration to say that such a person was a hypocrite. When Feng Zhou saw that Lin Fan really turned around and left, he hurriedly ran up and said, "You are right, I like Li Zihan." Hearing this, Lin Fan stopped. "Li Zihan and I are friends." Lin Fan smiled faintly. Feng Zhou was delighted. He was worried that Lin Fan and Li Zihan were in a relationship before. Now that he got the answer from Lin Fan, his worries became unnecessary. "Did you know Li Zihan before?" Lin Fan asked. "Yes, actually, she and I were studying in the same university before the Doomsday, but after the Doomsday, I returned to my family and there was no way to contact her," Feng Zhou said slowly. "I didn't expect to see her again at the Qinglong Gang this time. I was going to say hello to her directly, but I saw that you guys lived together, and I was afraid that you and her were in that kind of relationship, so I didn't go to her directly." When Feng Zhou said this, Lin Fan also used the ring to read some of Feng Zhou's data. Species, human level 2 strength, 8 speed, 8 reaction, 8 superpower. None. Seeing Feng Zhou's data information, Lin Fan was silent in his heart. This guy should have just broken through to the second-level evolutionist. This also shows that he should know that Li Zihan's strength is stronger than his, so he was embarrassed to go to Li Zihan before. Think about it from another angle. If Feng Zhou was a third-level evolutionist, he would definitely not be so shy to come to him to inquire about the situation first. Wouldn't he just go and ask Li Zihan directly? In today's doomsday society, there is no system to speak of. Everything is based on strength. People who are strong enough are at the top of the pyramid. No one can restrict them from doing anything. Now that you know she is single, do you plan to go find her or not? Lin Fan asked with a smile. I would like to ask you to introduce me to her so as not to appear too abrupt, Feng Zhou said. Introduction. Lin Fan did not quite understand what Feng Zhou meant. Feng Zhou quickly explained, that is, you took me to see Li Zihan, but you pretended not to know that she and I knew each other. It was equivalent to that we met by chance outside, and then we got along well and became friends. As a result, when we went back together, she and I happened to meet. Lin Fan almost laughed out loud at Feng Zhou's explanation. Is this guy a man? Isn't it just to meet Li Zihan? Besides, they are alumni, so why make it so complicated? However, since Feng Zhou has such a request, Lin Fan cannot fail to meet it. It's just that before meeting it, he should get some benefits appropriately. You said that, it's not impossible, but what benefits do I get from helping you? Lin Fan asked directly. He himself felt that Li Zihan should make more friends with other family forces. Even if Feng Zhou did not take the initiative to come to him, he would let Li Zihan get to know them after knowing that someone from the Fang family was also here. Now Feng Zhou took the initiative to come to him. Taking advantage of this opportunity to get some benefits is the kingly way. Feng Zhou was obviously not surprised by Lin Fan's request. When he decided to ask Lin Fan for help in introduction, he had already thought about paying some price. I'll give you a tube of mutagenic factor. Feng Zhou stretched out a finger and gestured. A tube of mutagenic factor. Lin Fan smiled slightly and said, then you should go to Li Zihan by yourself. Chapter 277 Good Strategy. Lin Fan could tell from Feng Zhou's expression and attitude that the number Feng Zhou said obviously had room for improvement. After the voice fell, Lin Fan also showed an appearance of not delaying at all, and took a step forward. Brother Lin Fan, please stay. Feng Zhou stretched out a hand to stop Lin Fan, saying, tell me, what benefits do you want? Let me see if I can accept it. If I can accept it, I will agree to it. 3 tubes of mutagenic factors. Lin Fan imitated Feng Zhou's movements, but he stretched out 2 more fingers than Feng Zhou. Feng Zhou swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in embarrassment, Brother Lin Fan, this 3 tubes is too much, it's really beyond my tolerance. The mutagenic factors we brought from the Fang family this time have to be kept for use at the trade fair. What good things can be exchanged at the trade fair? Lin Fan said, pretending to be indifferent. In fact, he also wanted to take this opportunity to see if he could get some words from Feng Zhou. Of course there are good things. Let's not talk about anything else. Let's just say that the 3rd level energy crystal will appear at this trade fair, Feng Zhou said in a deep voice. This thing can only be exchanged for mutagenic factors. It turns out that there are really 3rd level energy crystals. I thought it was just a rumor spread by others, Lin Fan said. Of course there are. This is not a rumor. Feng Zhou shook his head. Where did you hear this news from? Lin Fan asked. My family members said so, and the people of the Qinglong gang also said so. It is definitely not false, Feng Zhou said very confidently, and then there was a hint of pleading in his eyes, saying, Brother Lin Fan, if you don't want to participate in the trade fair, I will definitely give you the 3 tubes of mutagenic factors without frowning, but you see that the trade fair is about to start, can you make some concessions? 3 tubes of mutagenic factors, it is really beyond my tolerance. Every second Feng Zhou spoke, Lin Fan stared closely. Lin Fan could judge that Feng Zhou really couldn't take out 3 tubes of mutagenic factors. If he had to be forced to take it, he would probably have to give up the chance to meet Li Zihan. 2 tubes, no less, no more negotiation, Lin Fan said. Feng Zhou hesitated for a moment, a look of pain flashed across his face, and finally gritted his teeth and said, okay, 2 tubes, deal. Lin Fan stretched out his hand. Feng Zhou felt in his pocket and took out 2 tubes of mutagenic factors and handed them to Lin Fan. This guy actually brought it with him, Lin Fan smiled in his heart. It seemed that Feng Zhou's bottom line was to give 2 tubes of mutagenic factors. Seeing Lin Fan take the mutagenic factors and put them away, Fang Zhou hurriedly asked. Then shall we go find Li Zihan now? No hurry, we've already come here, let's go to the trade fair first. I just came out to go to the trade fair to take a look, and I didn't expect to meet you, Lin Fan said. Okay, then let's go together. It happens that I haven't been there either, Fang Zhou agreed. In fact, he had already seen it, but since Lin Fan wanted to go, he had to follow him, so that he wouldn't have to look for Lin Fan if he slipped away. By the way, Lin Fan, as Li Zihan's friend, you must know about her living conditions, right? Fang Zhou asked gossipingly. His mind was full of things related to Li Zihan. What do you mean specifically? Lin Fan asked back. I mean the relationship, Fang Zhou chuckled. She and I only met after the doomsday, how would I know her relationship status before that? Lin Fan shook his head. I know her relationship status before the doomsday, but we never talked about it once. I just asked you if she had anyone she liked after the doomsday, Fang Zhou corrected. I haven't heard of that, Lin Fan said. Then do I still have a chance? Fang Zhou was a little excited. I don't know if you have a chance or not. I only know that it's up to her to decide. Lin Fan reached out and patted Fang Zhou's shoulder, saying, you and her have known each other before, so you should have some understanding of her personality. If she doesn't have a good impression of you, then no matter how hard you try to change, it's probably difficult to reverse the situation. This is my summary of her since I met her, and it's probably like this. In fact, what Lin Fan said was right. Li Zihan really has the kind of personality he analyzed. If you make a bad first impression, no matter how you change later, it's difficult to reverse the bad first impression. Fang Zhou nodded solemnly and said, although I probably didn't leave her a very good first impression, it's definitely not a bad impression. While the two were talking, they came to the trade fair. It seems that the Qinglong gang has really put a lot of effort into this trade fair. Lin Fan glanced over and could clearly see that the trade fair venue arranged by the Qinglong gang was very grand. Let alone other things, just talking about the floor area, Lin Fan roughly estimated that it was at least 3,000 square meters. Being able to temporarily vacate 3,000 square meters of space in the base for the trade fair shows how much the Qinglong gang values it. After all the big and small families in Zhonghai province have invited us. If we don't do it well, won't we become the object of everyone's jokes? Fang Zhou continued. Do you know how this trade fair is carried out? Lin Fan asked. It's actually similar to the form of an auction. It's mainly the people of the Qinglong gang who take out some items for auction, and then those of us who come to participate bid to compete, Fang Zhou said. So this is the model? Lin Fan nodded in sudden enlightenment. It seems that the Qinglong gang should want to obtain a large number of mutagenic factors. Because the Qinglong gang has a large number of people, they don't need to adopt the method of the Li family to cultivate excellent evolvers. In such a large force, they only need to create more and more evolvers. Anyway, people's psychology is fixed. If they perform well, they can be reused and get a position. After becoming evolvers, they will still do their best to perform and strive to be appreciated. And through this trade fair or auction, the Qinglong gang will undoubtedly collect a lot of mutagenic factors. At that time, these mutagenic factors will allow the Qinglong gang to have a large number of evolvers. With so many evolvers, the next goal of the Qinglong gang will certainly be to continue to grow and expand, and to press on the other cities. It must be said that the Qinglong gang really used a very good strategy. Fang Zhou naturally couldn't think of so much, he was just explaining to Lin Fan. Then, he thought of something else and said, however, in addition to auctioning the Qinglong gang's things, if we outsiders also want to take this opportunity to auction things, we can still contact the Qinglong gang to ask them to help auction, but they will charge a certain amount of money for the auction items. Chapter 278 Pretending to Meet by Chance. This is actually the normal auction model. The auctioneer helps to auction things and collects a certain amount of profit as a reward. This is a normal thing. However, this also shows the cleverness of the Qinglong gang. Using the momentum of the Qinglong gang, they invited large and small family forces in Zhonghai province to participate. Those who don't come will be secretly remembered by the Qinglong gang, saying that they don't give face to the Qinglong gang. Those who come to participate are equivalent to sending mutagenic factors to the Qinglong gang. The more mutagenic factors the Qinglong gang harvests, the faster it will grow. When they feel that they are strong enough to unify the entire Zhonghai province, they will definitely not delay at all. Are you here to participate in the auction, or does your Fang family have something to sell? Lin Fan asked curiously. We are here purely to participate in the auction. Feng Zhou touched his face and said, the Qinglong Gang has a third-level energy crystal to auction. I'm not afraid to tell you that I am participating for the third-level energy crystal. Then do you know the price of the third-level energy crystal? Lin Fan asked again. It's hard to say. After all, this is an auction. Who knows what the starting price of the Qinglong Gang is? Moreover, we have to see how many competitors bid. At this point, Feng Zhou looked around. When he was sure that no one else could hear him, he added in a low voice, the most important thing is that if there is someone in the Qinglong Gang who is raising the price, the impact on the transaction price will be even greater. If it is raised too high, no one will want it. Isn't it the same as not bidding? Lin Fan said. Although this situation is possible, even if it is not auctioned, the third-level energy crystal is still in their hands, and they haven't suffered any loss, Feng Zhou said. That's right, Lin Fan nodded. Feng Zhou glanced around and said, this place is not finished yet, there is nothing to see, let's go back. His mind has always been on Li Zihan, so naturally he doesn't want to waste more time here. How could Lin Fan not see Feng Zhou's thoughts? However, as Feng Zhou said, this place is indeed not finished yet. Except for some patrols and construction workers, there is nothing else to see. Just as the two of them were about to leave, a familiar voice sounded from behind. Lin Fan. Hearing the shout, Lin Fan turned around and saw Liu Feng walking towards him and Feng Zhou. Master Liu, what's up? Lin Fan asked. Master Liu. Feng Zhou obviously knew Liu Feng and greeted him. Nothing, I just saw you guys here. Liu Feng walked up and looked at Lin Fan and Feng Zhou. Then, he asked curiously, do you two know each other? Feng Zhou originally wanted to say that he had just met Lin Fan, but before he could say anything, Lin Fan took the lead and said, I know you. We knew each other when we were in college, but we didn't expect to meet again here. I was bored, so I came here to hang out. Feng Zhou didn't know why Lin Fan lied to Liu Feng, but Liu Feng was a useless person to him, while Lin Fan was someone who could take him to see Li Zihan. Compared with the two, he chose to stand on Lin Fan's side without hesitation. Yes, Hall Master Liu, Lin Fan and I have known each other since college. We are alumni and had a good time together in college, Feng Zhou said with a smile. He lied very naturally. And most people could not tell that he was lying. Is that so? Then you were like old friends reuniting, and it's time to catch up. Liu Feng flashed his eyes suspiciously, but still could not see anything. Hall Master Liu, are you here to shop as well? Lin Fan asked. I am responsible for supervising the work here. Liu Feng could not help but reveal a little pride when he said this. That meant to tell Lin Fan and Feng Zhou that he, Liu Feng, had a good status in the Qinglong Gang, and even such an important task as supervising the trading venue fell on his head. Then Hall Master Liu is really hard. Lin Fan smiled and said, you go ahead, we have almost finished shopping and are ready to go back. After that, Lin Fan turned around and walked back without delay. Seeing this, Feng Zhou and Liu Feng said goodbye and quickly followed Lin Fan. He was afraid that Lin Fan would dump him, and he looked like Lin Fan's pursuer. Seeing Lin Fan's gradually receding back, Liu Feng's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and a ferocious smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He whispered, boy, I will let you live for 2 more days. After the trade fair is over, it will be your death. They must take this opportunity to find out the news about the Li family. Therefore, he had already negotiated with Dian Xiaobing before, and would take action to get rid of Lin Fan after the trade fair. Murong Zhu, Murong Shan and Li Zihan were all good-looking women, so they could naturally leave a way out so that they could serve them. Lin Fan didn't know that Liu Feng and Dian Xiaobing were already planning to kill him. When Li and Feng Zhou walked back, they didn't delay anymore and went straight back to the accommodation area. The Feng family, where Feng Zhou was also very powerful, and naturally arranged to live in a villa in this accommodation area. I don't know if Li Zihan is in the villa now. Will you come back later or go back with me now? Lin Fan pointed and said, we live in that villa, I'll go with you now. Feng Zhou replied quickly. If Li Zihan is not in the villa now, then he will wait for Li Zihan to come back in the villa. Anyway, he has nothing else to do today. Okay, let's go. Lin Fan nodded and took Feng Zhou's 2 tubes of mutagenic factors. Things still need to be done. The two returned to the villa. As expected, Li Zihan, Murong Su and Murong Shan were not back yet. Sit down, Lin Fan asked Feng Zhou to sit on the sofa. However, at this moment, footsteps and Murong Shan's voice were heard outside the door. They are back, Lin Fan said. Then let's act more realistically. Don't let it go, Feng Zhou reminded. Soon, Murongsu, Murongshan and Li Zihan walked in from outside. Brother Lin Fan, we are back, Murongshan shouted with a smile, and then she noticed that there was another person here, and asked curiously, Brother Lin Fan, who is this? I don't think I have seen him before. Let me introduce you. His name is Feng Zhou, a friend I just met when I went out, Lin Fan said. Feng Zhou, Li Zihan was slightly startled. Li Zihan, Feng Zhou made a surprised expression and said in disbelief, why are you here? This is too coincidental, Sister Zihan, do you two know each other? Murongshan blinked. Yes, he is my schoolmate when I was in college, Li Zihan nodded. Chapter 279 Contact with the Fang family. Li Zihan looked at Feng Zhou and said, I didn't expect to meet here by chance. Yeah, luckily I met Lin Fan when I went out today. If I hadn't followed Lin Fan here, we wouldn't have met, Feng Zhou said enthusiastically. As he spoke, he glanced at Lin Fan and motioned Lin Fan to speak for him. Lin Fan said, yes, I didn't expect you two knew each other. Li Zihan nodded and said, Feng Zhou, are you coming to the Qinglong Gang base to participate in the trade fair? Feng Zhou responded, yes, the Qinglong Gang's trade fair is so grand, it would be bad for our Fang family to be absent, so we came here to participate. After Feng Zhou finished speaking, Lin Fan walked in front of Li Zihan and said, come here, I have something to tell you. Okay, Li Zihan didn't know what Lin Fan was going to say, but she followed Lin Fan to the side consciously. This scene, in Feng Zhou's eyes, almost made him happy. In his opinion, it should be Lin Fan who spoke well of him. As for Murongsu and Murongshan, they had no opinion. The two sisters naturally felt that Lin Fan must have his reasons for communicating with Li Zihan in private. After taking Li Zihan to the side, Lin Fan said, Feng Zhou and I didn't meet by chance. Not by chance? Then you? Li Zihan was slightly surprised. He took the initiative to find me. Lin Fan told Li Zihan the story. After hearing what Lin Fan said, Li Zihan almost couldn't help laughing out loud. She never thought that Feng Zhou was so naive. 2 tubes of mutagenic factors, one for you. Lin Fan took out a tube from his pocket and handed it to Li Zihan. I don't want it. You got it by fooling around. I didn't contribute anything. Li Zihan smiled slightly. If you fooled around, you would believe it. If you weren't involved, how could I fool around to get it? This is our common spoils of war. You must take half. Lin Fan's attitude was very firm. Common spoils of war? Li Zihan's heart moved. She liked the word together that Lin Fan said. Moreover, she could also feel Lin Fan's firm attitude. If she didn't accept it, Lin Fan would probably not be happy. She didn't want to see Lin Fan unhappy, so she didn't pretend to be anything more and reached out to take the tube of mutagenic factor. Now you know what this guy means to you. I think you know how to weigh it, Lin Fan said slowly. The strength of the Fang family is not simple. From what you said before, except for the destroyed Zhuang family and your Li family, among the other families, the strength of the Fang family can be ranked in the top 3. Such a family, even if we become enemies in the future, that is a matter for the future. We should still maintain good relations for now. After all, the Qinglong Gang is the biggest enemy. Sooner or later, the Qinglong Gang will take action against other forces. Before that, it is obviously the most correct choice not to become hostile to other families. Okay, I know. I will maintain the relationship with the Fang family. Li Zihan nodded, and then she added, but I don't like him. I didn't before, I don't now, and I won't in the future. She was worried that Lin Fan would misunderstand her, so she wanted to explain it to Lin Fan quickly. Lin Fan smiled slightly. I know. After that, the two walked back to the living room. Feng Zhou, where do you live? Li Zihan asked. His eyes fell on Feng Zhou. In the villa on the far left, Feng Zhou replied. Are there other members of your family coming with you? Li Zihan asked again. Yes, my 2 uncles are here too, Feng Zhou said. Okay, then let's go to the villa where you live and visit your 2 uncles by the way, Li Zihan said. Okay, Feng Zhou nodded as fast as he could. Then, he walked up to Lin Fan, gave him a thumbs up, and whispered, thank you, brother. He thought that Lin Fan had just said a lot of good things about him to Li Zihan, and his gratitude to Lin Fan was simply beyond words. You're welcome, this is what I should do, Lin Fan smiled faintly. Okay, then I'll go back first, and come to see you when I'm free, Feng Zhou said, and then walked towards Li Zihan. making a gentlemanly gesture to Li Zihan. Li Zihan and Fang Zhou walked out together. Li Zihan just wanted to get along well with the people of the Fang family. As a junior, she could show her sincerity by visiting the two elders of the Fang family in person. Brother Lin Fan, how did you know this Fang Zhou? Muran Shan looked at Lin Fan with curiosity. After I tell you, I guess you will laugh out loud. Lin Fan smiled. That's even more important. Muran Shan was full of expectations. Muran Zhu also looked at Lin Fan curiously. Lin Fan did not beat around the bush and told the story of how he and Fang Zhou met. He also emphasized the benefits of the two tubes of mutagenic factors. Haha, I am dying of laughter. This Fang Zhou is so silly and cute. As expected by Lin Fan, Muran Shan almost rolled on the ground with laughter after hearing this. Muran Zhu's pretty face was also full of smiles. She did not expect Fang Zhou to be so stupid. He could have just come to see Li Zihan directly, but he had to do this kind of trip to give away two tubes of mutagenic factors for nothing. If such a person did not have the Fang family as a backer, it would be difficult for him to survive in the doomsday and he would be played around by others. Lin Fan shook his head and smiled. Brother Lin Fan, it's a good thing he is so stupid, otherwise how could you get two tubes of mutagenic factors? This is delivered to your door for nothing, Muran Shan said with a smile. Indeed, he delivered it to your door, Lin Fan nodded. On the other side, Li Zihan and Fang Zhou went to visit the Fang family. Fang Zhou wanted to spend some time alone with Li Zihan, but he never had the chance. Because Li Zihan was always communicating with the people of the Fang family. As for the topic of communication, it was obviously some serious business, not the category of small talk, and Fang Zhou had no chance to interrupt. After about an hour of communication, Li Zihan got up to say goodbye. Fang Zhou seized the opportunity and hurriedly sent Li Zihan out. Fang Zhou, no need to send me off. Anyway, it's so close, and I still have things to do after I go back. Let's talk again when we are free, Li Zihan declined tactfully. Fang Zhou thought he still had a chance when he heard it, and said with a smile, okay, then I will come to you when you are done. Li Zihan did not respond too much, turned around and left here, and soon returned to the villa. How was the chat? Are the people of the Fang family easy to get along with? Seeing Li Zihan coming back, Lin Fan asked first. The people of the Fang family are still easy to get along with. Li Zihan nodded lightly and said, besides, I found a good situation. Chapter 280 The Final Purpose. What good situation have you found? Lin Fan's eyes flickered slightly. Li Zihan took a deep breath and said, although the people of the Fang family didn't say it explicitly, from what I heard from them during my communication with them, it seems that they also have the idea of fighting against the Qinglong gang. Oh, Lin Fan's expression was slightly condensed, and he said, if the people of the Fang family really have such an idea, it means that their Fang family has also realized the intention of the Qinglong gang. Yes, Fang Zhou's second uncle said that the Qinglong gang will occupy the entire Zhonghe province sooner or later. What he revealed in his words is that if that day really comes, then their Fang family will have to think carefully about where to go, Li Zihan said. Did he really say that? Lin Fan asked. Yes, that's what he said. Li Zihan nodded seriously. Brother Lin Fan, isn't it normal to say that? Why do I feel like you seem to have captured some key information? Muran Shan looked at Lin Fan curiously. Muran Zhu and Li Zihan also looked at Lin Fan curiously. They also felt the meaning of capturing key information from Lin Fan's tone. We have indeed captured the key information. Lin Fan smiled faintly and said, let me explain it to you. Think about it carefully. The people of the Fang family know that the Qinglong gang's intention is to occupy the entire Zhonghe province, and they also know that their Fang family can't stop the oppression of the Qinglong gang at all. But why did they say in front of you that they are considering the future of the Fang family? This is clearly implying that if the Li family can fight against the Qinglong gang, then their Fang family will not have to leave Zhonghe province. If the Li family cannot fight against the Qinglong gang, then their Fang family will have to leave Zhonghe province. Of course, the possibility of surrendering to the Qinglong gang cannot be ruled out, but surrendering to the Qinglong gang is definitely their last choice. If there are other options, they will definitely not surrender to the Qinglong gang. Hearing what Lin Fan said, Li Zihan also reacted suddenly and nodded quickly. So, their Fang family is seeing whether our Li family dares to confront the Qinglong gang. Yes, that's what I mean. He told you this because he wants you to reveal this information to the head of the Li family. After hearing this, the head of the Li family will naturally consider it. Lin Fan narrowed his eyes and said, moreover, I can now make a certain judgment that as long as the Li family dares to fight against the Qinglong gang, the Fang family will definitely be willing to join forces with the Li family, because the Fang family also does not want to see Zhonghe province being occupied by the Qinglong gang alone. In that case, the Fang family can only leave or surrender. We have already said that surrendering is the worst option. If they leave, it will be the same as the situation faced by the Li family. Going to a strange place to start over will face many difficulties. This is a behavior that will seriously damage the vitality. Lin Fan felt that Fang Zhou's second uncle was a person who could see things clearly and was also a very smart person. He did not say it clearly, but deliberately said it in a more obscure way, just to see if Li Zihan could understand his deeper meaning. Brother Lin Fan, you are really amazing. You have analyzed these problems clearly, Muran Sham couldn't help but praise, and at the same time, her eyes were full of admiration when she looked at Lin Fan. Lin Fan shook his head and said, if you want to analyze some problems clearly, you have to analyze them from an outside perspective. Otherwise, how could there be the saying that those who are involved are often confused, while those who are not involved can see things clearly? The more you analyze from an outside perspective, the more comprehensive and thorough your analysis will be. This way you can avoid making many mistakes. Muran Shan waved her hand and said, I'm too lazy to analyze these things. Anyway, we have you to analyze them in our team. You have to know that we all follow you, haha. Muran Shan's last sentence made Lin Fan laugh, and he said, okay, since you follow me, I'll do the analysis. Muran Zhu and Li Zihan looked at each other and laughed too. Then, Li Zihan said, after returning to the family this time, I will tell my grandfather and my father about the Fang family's idea. If we want to join forces to fight against the Qinglong gang, they must come forward to talk to the head of the Fang family, Fang Zhou's grandfather. Well, this is inevitable. They have to sit together to discuss the plan and specific details of the confrontation. Lin Fan pondered and said, once your two major families reach a consensus and decide to join forces to fight against the Qinglong gang, you can contact more family forces privately. As long as everyone unites together, the Qinglong gang will never dare to act rashly after this trade fair. Although 4 cities in Zhonghe province are already the territory of the Qinglong gang, the large and small family forces in the remaining cities are still an extremely powerful force. If the Qinglong gang wants to fight against this group, they must consider whether they are qualified. Are you saying that the Qinglong gang may attack us after the trade fair? Li Zihan also captured a key piece of information from Lin Fan's words. Yes, it is very likely. At least, the possibility has reached 90%. Lin Fan nodded. Why is it so fast? Li Zihan showed a puzzled look on his face. Do you know what the ultimate purpose of the Qinglong gang holding this trade fair is? Lin Fan asked. I don't know. Muran Zhu, Muran Shan and Li Zihan looked at each other and shook their heads at the same time. They only knew that the Qinglong gang held this trade fair to investigate some of the situations of the major family forces, but Lin Fan asked this question, which means that the Qinglong gang has other purposes. As for this other purpose, they really haven't guessed it yet. The real purpose of their holding this trade fair is actually to collect more mutagenic factors, Lin Fan said. Collecting mutagenic factors? Muran Zhu was slightly startled. Yes, they just want to collect more mutagenic factors. Lin Fan nodded, and then told the 3 girls the model of the trade fair. Hearing this, the 3 girls reacted. The Qinglong gang is really a good plan. They can actually think of using this method to collect mutagenic factors. Li Zihan's eyes flashed with color. Yes, this plan is indeed quite good. You know, the Qinglong gang has a large number of people and the 3rd-level energy crystals in their hands are not without effect, but the 3rd-level energy crystals cannot create more evolvers. They can only enhance the strength of a single evolver, Lin Fan said slowly. They have a large number of people, so they need more evolvers to continue to grow their momentum. They can use the 3rd-level energy crystals to auction in exchange for mutagenic factors to produce more evolvers. In this way, they can take action immediately and accelerate the expansion to the rest of the cities in Zhonghe province. This is what they ultimately want to see. Chapter 281 is a good sign. The leader of the Qinglong gang must be a talented person, otherwise he wouldn't have thought of such a scheme to cheat the mutagenic factor, Muran Shan complained. This can't be called cheating, after all, others did put things up for auction, but the starting price was set by them, Lin Fan said. The starting price they said is too high, and everyone is not stupid. Wouldn't it be better not to participate in the auction? Muran Shan asked. The starting price of their things will not be high. On the contrary, It will make people feel that the starting price is lower than the normal price of the things, Lin Fan said. Why? Muran Shan and Li Zihan were all very confused. A low starting price does not mean that the final transaction price is also low, because during the auction process, they will arrange for someone to raise the price, Lin Fan explained. It's so cunning, Muran Shan complained. But if the price is raised too high and others don't continue to bid, then won't the auction fail? Li Zihan asked. Although this is possible, they won't lose anything if the auction fails, right? Lin Fan smiled. That's right, Li Zihan nodded. Brother Lin Fan, then we shouldn't contribute mutagenic factors to them at this auction, and we will definitely not participate in the auction, Muran Shan said. It depends on the situation, Lin Fan said. I mainly want to see how much the third-level energy crystal will be auctioned for. If the price is right, it is not impossible to get it to improve my strength, that's right. The effect of the third-level energy crystal is so strong. Brother Lin Fan, if you become a third-level evolver, then you don't have to worry about the Qinglong gang. When the time comes, you will beat them to pieces, Muran Shan waved her little fist. I won't beat them to pieces, but I'm sure I'm not afraid of them, Lin Fan smiled faintly. He didn't know how many third-level evolvers there were in the Qinglong gang. However, as long as he became a third-level evolver, he could at least guarantee that the people of the Qinglong gang couldn't hurt him. Therefore, getting the third-level energy crystal is a very important thing. The four continued to chat for a while, then ate something, and then went back to their rooms to rest. The next day, Lin Fan did not go out. Li Zihan, Muranzu and Muran Shan continued to go out to meet other people. At noon, Feng Zhou walked in from outside. Seeing Lin Fan sitting alone on the sofa, he hurriedly asked, "Where are they?" "You want to ask Li Zihan?" Feng Zhou touched his face embarrassedly. "She's out," Lin Fan smiled and said, "Sit down for a while." Feng Zhou sat on the sofa opposite and thanked Lin Fan first. Until now, he still thought that Lin Fan had said something good for him yesterday. Lin Fan found that this guy was really naive and cute. This kind of person is suitable for making friends. After all, he doesn't have any bad intentions. By the way, Feng Zhou, I have a question for you, Lin Fan said. What question? Ask it, Feng Zhou nodded. Do you know how many level 3 evolvers there are in the Qinglong gang? Lin Fan asked. How many level 3 evolvers are there? Feng Zhou frowned slightly and said, I'm really not sure about this question, but I seem to have heard my grandfather mention it by chance. He said that the Qinglong gang has no less than 3 level 3 evolvers, no less than 3, Lin Fan speculated and said. If your grandfather is so sure, then maybe the Qinglong gang has 4 or 5 level 3 evolvers, it's very likely. After all, the Qinglong gang has so many people, and they are in charge of 4 cities. Without a strong person in charge, they can't be in charge, Feng Zhou said. Yes, they are in charge of 4 cities. At this stage of the doomsday outbreak, it is considered to be a very rapid development, Lin Fan sighed slightly. The Qinglong gang is growing so fast, it will continue to expand sooner or later, and our family forces must prepare early, Feng Zhou said, shaking his head, saying, forget it, let's not talk about this topic. My grandfather is the master of family affairs. He says to do what he wants, then, he changed the subject and said, Lin Fan, did Li Zihan mention me after he came back yesterday? He didn't mention you specifically, but he said something related to your family, Lin Fan responded. Is that so? Feng Zhou nodded suddenly, and then said, do you think there is a high possibility that I will be with her? How can I say that? Lin Fan smiled and said, emotional matters are the most difficult to judge. If you ask me, I don't know how to answer you. For now, Li Zihan also has to maintain a good relationship with the Fan family. Even if it is absolutely impossible for him to be with Feng Zhou, he can't say it too bluntly. What's more, Feng Zhou is not a bad guy, so there is no need to let him fall into despair. Lin Fan and Li Zihan are very clear about this. Okay, I still want to ask you for some reference, Feng Zhou smiled helplessly. Don't think too much about it. Just develop it as it should be. There's no point in thinking too much, Lin Fan comforted. That's right, Feng Zhou stood up and said, then I'll go back first. The trade fair will start tomorrow. We can sit together then. Is the seat random? Lin Fan asked. Well, I don't know. If it's random, then we can sit together. If it's not random, then there's no way, Feng Zhou said. Okay, Lin Fan nodded. Okay, let's go, Feng Zhou waved his hand, and turned to walk out of the villa without delay. He had just left for 2 minutes when Li Zihan and the other two came back from outside. It can only be said that this guy's luck is not good. He sat here for half an hour and didn't wait for Li Zihan to come back. As a result, Li Zihan came back as soon as he left. Did you get any good results from the family forces you contacted these 2 days? Lin Fan looked at Li Zihan and asked with a smile. According to my understanding, half of these family forces are indifferent to Zhonghe province falling into the hands of the Qinglong gang, as long as they are not eliminated. In other words, they can choose to submit to the Qinglong gang, Li Zihan said. The remaining half have almost the same attitude as the Fang family, that is, if they are sure they can fight against the Qinglong gang, then they are willing to stand up and fight together. This is a good sign. Lin Fan nodded and said, before, it was equivalent to only your family fighting against the Qinglong gang. Now at least there are so many potential allies. When the time comes, when you get together, you will merge into a powerful force that will make the Qinglong gang wary and dare not easily attack you. Chapter 282 Seating Arrangement. Treating Li Zihan as a true friend, Lin Fan would naturally consider Li Zihan, and to consider Li Zihan, he would have to consider the Li family. From the perspective of the Li family, the more allies they have when fighting against the Qinglong gang, the better the result. Moreover, even if the Li family and the Qinglong gang don't really go to war, having a united collective force can at least prevent the Qinglong gang from taking action faster. Well, after this trade fair is over and I return to the family, I will tell my grandfather about this and ask him to quickly contact those family forces that want to fight against the Qinglong gang, Li Zihan said solemnly. Yes, this matter must be acted as soon as possible, and the sooner the action is, the safer it will be, because after the trade fair, the Qinglong gang will inevitably have a group of more evolvers, and then they will also expand at the fastest speed. Lin Fan nodded and said, if the Li family's action speed is faster than the Qinglong gang, then there will be no problem. If it is slower than the Qinglong gang, then there will be a big problem. Thinking of this, Lin Fan reminded, of course, when the time comes, let your grandfather contact big family forces like the Fang family first, and start with the strong ones. Then, for example, if the Fang family agrees to join forces to fight against the Qinglong gang, then you can let the Fang family contact the family forces around them. Otherwise, if all the contacts are made by your Li family, not to mention the problem of whether there are enough people, it will probably take a long time to complete the contact. After all, the major family forces are not concentrated in one place. This must be done to improve efficiency. You still think comprehensively. Li Zihan gave Lin Fan a thumbs up. Before meeting Lin Fan, she felt that she was already a very outstanding young generation. But after meeting Lin Fan, she found that even though she was strong, she was far behind Lin Fan in other aspects. Although strength is the most important thing in the doomsday, brains are also very important. If you only have strength but no brains, you are likely to be used by others. Commonly known as strong limbs and simple minds. Such people will be killed sooner or later. Sister Zihan, we can form an alliance with your Li family in the future, and see who dares to be arrogant in front of us, Murin Shan chuckled. Of course it's good. Li Zihan would naturally not refuse such a thing. Lin Fan is so young, but he already has a survivor base of thousands of people. He also comes out to constantly train, strengthen himself, and collect mutagenic factors. It can be predicted that Lin Fan will definitely become a real strong man in the future. Being able to form an alliance with such a strong man is 100 benefits for the Li family, no matter how you look at it. What's more, there is no problem with Lin Fan's character. In the evening, Lin Fan and his 3 companions finished their meal in the living room. To his surprise, Liu Fen came to see them. Master Liu, please sit down, Lin Fan called out. No matter what this guy had in mind, he was the master of the Qinglong gang after all, and now he was on the territory of the Qinglong gang, so he had to do his job on the surface. Are you used to living here? Liu Feng asked with a smile as he sat on the sofa. Murin Shan was originally sitting next to him. However, after he sat down, Murin Shan quickly moved away and went to sit with Lin Fan. Seeing this, he couldn't help but feel a little itchy, and his ruthlessness towards Lin Fan became even stronger. Damn bastard. If I let you be proud for 2 more days, you will die after the trade fair, Liu Feng thought secretly in his heart. Thinking of this, he felt much better, and his eyes occasionally glanced at Murinzu and Li Zihan, who were sitting on the other side. I'm used to it. Thanks to the Qinglong gang and Master Liu for arranging this villa for us. We live very comfortably, Lin Fan replied with a smile. Just get used to it, just get used to it, Liu Feng nodded. I came to you now to give you something. Give you something? Lin Fan's eyes flashed with doubt. Murin Zhu, Murin Shan and Li Zihan were also a little confused. What is this guy going to give them? Yes, Liu Feng nodded again, then reached into his pocket and quickly took out 4 small cards. This is your seat card for the trade fair tomorrow. The numbers on it correspond to your seats. You must sit according to the designated seats when you go. Liu Feng put the 4 small cards on the table. Lin Fan and the other 4 were a little speechless. This guy was so mysterious. They thought he was going to give them something, but it turned out to be a seat card. Lin Fan glanced at the numbers on the small cards, which were 1, 2, 3 and 4. If the seats were arranged according to normal circumstances, it would mean that they would sit in the best seats at the front. This also shows that in the eyes of the Qinglong gang, the Li family is also recognized as the most powerful family in Zhonghe province at the moment, otherwise it would not be arranged like this. Thank you, Hall Master Liu, for coming to deliver the seat card in person, Lin Fan said thank you casually. You're welcome, Liu Feng waved his hand and said, by the way, there is one more thing I want to ask you, that is, do you have anything you want to participate in the trade fair? Hall Master Liu, can you tell me more details? How to participate? Lin Fan asked pretending not to know. For example, if you have something you want to sell, you can give it to us for valuation. After we estimate a starting price, we will auction it at the trade fair tomorrow. We will charge 10% of the transaction price, Liu Feng explained. 10%? Lin Fan sneered in his heart, this is really dark. Of course, he would never say such words in front of Liu Feng. However, he did want to take this opportunity to find out the price of the 3rd level energy crystal. Hall Master Liu, what is the starting price of the 3rd level energy crystal? Lin Fan asked calmly. You have a level 3 energy crystal to auction. Liu Feng was shocked, and even he himself did not realize that he was a little excited. But his excitement naturally could not escape Lin Fan's observation. It can be seen that the level 3 energy crystal is indeed quite rare and precious, otherwise Liu Feng, as the leader of the Qinglong gang, would not be so excited. No, I just asked out of curiosity. Lin Fan shook his head and smiled, thinking that if there really had a level 3 energy crystal to auction, I'm afraid Liu Feng would have to snatch their level 3 energy crystal. Hearing Lin Fan's curious question, Liu Feng suppressed his excitement, leaned on the sofa, and said lightly, level 3 energy crystals are very precious. The starting price we set here is at least 10 tubes of mutagenic factors. As for how much it can be auctioned for, we will know the definite answer after the trade fair begins. Chapter 283 Asking for Prices. Originally thought that Lin Fan and his team had a level 3 energy crystal to auction, but it turned out that they didn't. They just wanted to inquire about the starting price, so Liu Feng's tone of voice seemed much colder. You know, if they can get in touch with the auction items and successfully auction them, the 10% reward will belong to them. The Qinglong gang will not take that 10%, which is equivalent to rewarding them individually. It is precisely because of this rule that Liu Feng is so active, otherwise he would not be too lazy to get excited. After all, according to their internal speculation, the price of the level 3 energy crystal should reach 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. 30 tubes of mutagenic factors, according to the 10% reward, he can get 3 tubes of mutagenic factors. Although mutagenic factors can no longer help his body evolve, he can accumulate them and spend them later. After all, in the doomsday world, mutagenic factors will gradually become a currency. Things that can be bought with money in the past can be bought with mutagenic factors in the future. The starting price is 10 tubes of mutagenic factors. So, Master Liu, what do you think the final transaction price will be? Lin Fan asked. He was just asking tentatively. This was a secret matter, and he didn't expect Liu Feng to answer. As expected, Liu Feng did not answer, and said perfunctorily, it's hard to say. This is also the first time we have auctioned the 3rd level energy crystal. No one can judge the final transaction price, Master Liu, just make a random estimate. With your status and position, I think you should know the approximate price, right? Murin Shan interrupted. Liu Feng really didn't want to answer this question, but after hearing Murin Shan's question, he changed his mind. Being able to answer the little beauty's question is also a way to accumulate impressions. What's more, in his opinion, Lin Fan asking him and Murin Shan asking him are 2 completely different concepts. Anyway, The transaction price of the third level energy crystal will be announced after the trade fair starts tomorrow. It's already evening now, and his casual mention should not affect anything. Okay, since you all want to know, I'll make a rough guess. I estimate that the transaction price should be around 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. As for whether it is more or less, we will have to wait until the auction to determine, Liu Feng said slowly. It all depends on the intensity of the bidding. If the bidding is very fierce, then the agents arranged by their Qinglong gang will continue to raise the price. If the bidding is relatively normal, then the agents arranged will not raise the price to more than 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. After all, the purpose of their gang leader is to auction the third level energy crystals in exchange for mutagenic factors, not to keep them for use. At present, the benefits of mutagenic factors to the Qinglong gang are greater than the benefits of third level energy crystals to the Qinglong gang. 30 tubes? Lin Fan thought about it. When they dealt with the golden monkeys before, they got more than 30 tubes of mutagenic factors, 2 of which were mutagenic factors extracted from the second level golden monkeys. He did not plan to use these 2 tubes of mutagenic factors to participate in the auction, which was equivalent to 34 tubes of first-level mutagenic factors that would be harvested at that time. Then, they helped Li Zihan and took him back to the Li family. Li Xianitun gave him another 15 tubes of mutagenic factors. That added up to 49 tubes. And, counting what he got from Fang Zhou, it was exactly 50 tubes. If the transaction price is exactly 30 tubes per tube, then 50 tubes are not enough to get 2. Lin Fan was a little worried. According to his estimation, if he absorbed 2 more level 3 energy crystals, his strength would be almost up to the level 3 evolver. But if he only absorbed 1, it would obviously not be possible. After thinking about it, Lin Fan glanced at Li Zihan from the corner of his eye. It seemed that he would have to ask Li Zihan to borrow some first. After all, the strength of a level 3 evolver would be greatly improved. After becoming a level 3 evolver, it would be more efficient to look for mutagenic factors or level 3 energy crystals. Master Liu, how many level 3 energy crystals do you have for auction this time? Murengzu asked. She knew that Lin Fan was more concerned about the topic of level 3 energy crystals. Liu Feng looked at Murengzu and said, I heard from our deputy gang leader that at this trade fair, at least 3 level 3 energy crystals will be auctioned. At this point, Liu Feng's eyes fixed and said, You are so concerned about the level 3 energy crystals. Do you want to bid for the level 3 energy crystals? We are just asking casually. After all, we have never known the prices of these things before, so we are curious to find out. Murengzu smiled faintly. There is no need to tell Liu Feng whether to bid or not. When the auction starts tomorrow, Liu Feng will naturally know whether they want to participate. Well, okay, then you take a rest first. I still have to notify other people. Liu Feng stood up and walked out. After walking a few steps, he stopped again, looked back at Lin Fan and the other 4, and said, By the way, the trade fair will start at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. You all know where the trade venue is. Don't be late by then. Okay, thank you, Master Liu. Lin Fan thanked him casually. Well, I'll go first. Liu Feng waved his hand. At the moment he turned around, he couldn't help but glance at Murengzu, Murengshan and Li Zihan, his eyes revealing a deep sense of vulgarity. After Liu Feng left the room, Murengshan looked at Lin Fan and said, Brother Lin Fan, you must participate in the auction of the third level energy crystal, right? Murengshan asked this, causing Murengzu and Li Zihan to focus their attention on Lin Fan. Lin Fan nodded and said, I have to participate, but I still have to look at the auction price. If the auction price is too high, there is no need to participate. Yes, auctions are like gambling. You must not get carried away. Once you get carried away, you will easily lose yourself. Murengzu nodded. Brother Lin Fan, how many tubes of mutagenic factors do we have now? Murengshan asked a very critical question. Lin Fan said without hesitation, when Liu Feng mentioned the bidding price before, I happen to calculate that we now have exactly 50 tubes of mutagenic factors. 50 tubes? Murengshan frowned slightly. If we bid for 1 level 3 energy crystal, it will definitely be enough, but if we bid for 2, it probably won't be enough. After all, even the guy said that their psychological price is 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. It's okay, I still have mutagenic factors here, Li Zihan said with a smile. This time, my grandfather asked me to bring 30 tubes of mutagenic factors with me, just to let me see if there is anything I want at the trade fair. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 We Can Go Together. Before Lin Fan asked Li Zihan to borrow the mutagenic factor, Li Zihan took the initiative to mention that she had the mutagenic factor. It can be seen that Li Zihan has gradually integrated into this team. Even though she is a member of the Li family, she also regards Lin Fan and the other two as her own family. Murenzhu looked at Li Zihan with her beautiful eyes and said, "Zihan, this is your mutagenic factor. If you see something you want in the transaction, you can also participate in the auction." Sister Zhu, it's too formal to say that. You saved my life and helped our family so much? Let alone 30 tubes of mutagenic factors, as long as I have more, I am willing to share them with everyone. While Li Zihan was speaking, he glanced at Lin Fan and said, "What's more, Lin Fan's strength will be greatly improved, which will also be of great benefit to us." Hearing Li Zihan's words, Murenzhu and Murenshan were very moved. Lin Fan was also touched. He knew that Li Zihan was not deliberately saying good things, but was really willing to use the mutagenic factor. Okay, let's wait and see the auction tomorrow. If 30 tubes can get a third level energy crystal, then I will borrow 10 tubes from you and return them to you later. You can't refuse, otherwise I won't want your mutagenic factor, Lin Fan said solemnly. Okay, it's a happy decision, Li Zihan nodded readily. She also knew Lin Fan's character and knew that Lin Fan was not the kind of person who took advantage of others. Since he said he would return it to her, he would definitely return it to her. It's getting late now, let's all go back to the room to rest. We have to attend the trade fair tomorrow morning, and it's always good to get a good rest, Lin Fan said. Yes, Murenzhu, Murenshan and Li Zihan naturally had no objection. The four of them didn't waste any more time and turned back to their rooms. Lin Fan lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking secretly, with 2 level 3 energy crystals, my strength will definitely be able to break through to the level 3 evolver. When the time comes, with a long halberd forged by Old Wang, I won't have to worry about dealing with people with all data of 13, besides, the leader of the Qinglong gang will definitely appear at the trade fair tomorrow. I can use the ring to read his data and see how strong he is. Lin Fan has always been very curious about a leader. Of course, he is not curious about what he looks like, but purely curious about his strength. In the early morning, the sun shines on the earth early. Lin Fan and his friends gathered in the living room and ate something. Let's go to the venue first, Lin Fan said. The four of them walked out of the villa, but happened to meet Fang Zhou and others who were walking from the other side. Fang Zhou saw Lin Fan and his 4 friends and shouted from a distance. There were 3 people following Fang Zhou, 2 of whom were about 40 or 50 years old, and the other one was about the same age as Fang Zhou, but should be 2 or 3 years older than Fang Zhou. The 2 middle-aged men were naturally Fang Zhou's uncles. The younger one was the son of Fang Zhou's second uncle. When the other party walked towards them, Lin Fan immediately read the other party's data with a ring. Fang Zhou's second uncle and third uncle were both level 2 evolvers, and their data had reached 11, not far from level 3 evolvers. Such strength can indeed be said to be quite good. Niece Li, are you going to the venue too? Second Uncle Fang came up and asked with a smile. Yes, Uncle Fang, Li Zihan nodded. We are also going to the venue, and it just so happens that we are going the same way. Second Uncle Fang smiled slightly. Okay, Li Zihan nodded again. Fang Zhou's second uncle and third uncle obviously have 2 different personalities. The second uncle is a harmonious person with a smile on his face at all times, and the third uncle is an upright person, but his face is always tense, as if he can't smile. Lin Fan didn't communicate with the 2 of them. While walking to the venue, Fang Zhou hurriedly came to Lin Fan. Lin Fan, after the trade fair is over, are you going to leave? Fang Zhou asked in a low voice. Yes, what? The trade fair is over, and you are not leaving yet? Lin Fan asked back. I am leaving, Fang Zhou nodded, a hint of reluctance flashed in his eyes. It's me, can't bear to leave Li Zihan. Lin Fan exposed Fang Zhou's shyness. Ahem, yes, Fang Zhou nodded. That's easy, you can let them go back to the Fang family, and you go to the Li family with us. I guess the head of the Li family will also go to your Fang family. Then you can go back with the head of the Li family. Lin Fan smiled faintly. Fang Zhou is the future heir of the Fang family. Lin Fan asked Fang Zhou to go with him, naturally not to match Fang Zhou and Li Zihan closer. Instead, he started with Fang Zhou first, convinced Fang Zhou, and then let Li Xianun go to the Fang family with Fang Zhou. The probability of persuading the head of the Fang family to join forces to fight against the Qinglong gang will increase sharply. Can I go with you? Fang Zhou was stunned for a moment, then asked excitedly. Why not? Lin Fan spread his hands, then glanced at Fang Zhou's two uncles, and said, of course, as long as your family members don't object. They will definitely not object, I am 100% sure of this. Fang Zhou grinned and said, then it's settled. After the trade fair, they will return to the Fang family, and I will go to the Li family with you. Fang Zhou's second and third uncles knew that he liked Li Zihan and wanted to pursue Li Zihan, and they absolutely supported this matter. Therefore, he was so sure that the two uncles would not object to him going to the Li family. Okay, Lin Fan nodded. This was not to pit Fang Zhou, but for the sake of the overall situation. Only when the Li family and the Fang family joined forces could they persuade more family forces to join the alliance against them. Only in this way could they continue to hold on to their city. Otherwise, what awaited them was expulsion or surrender. The accommodation area was not far from the trade fair, and Lin Fan and the others came here not long after they left. They also met many people on the way, all of whom were going to the fair. Li Zihan had met many of these people in the past 2 days, and they seemed to be saying hello to them as they walked on the road. This made second Uncle Fang and third Uncle Fang look at Li Zihan with new eyes, and they did not expect that Li Zihan had such good relationships with people. They all knew that Li Zihan could not have known so many people before, as he had lost his mobile phones and other communication equipment during the doomsday, and he must have met them after arriving here in the past 2 days. This ability to get to know people is not something that everyone has. It would be great if this girl could really get together with Xia Zhao, second Uncle Fang thought secretly in his heart. Chapter 285 Dongfang Ling. Many people have gathered in the trade fair. Not only are there outsiders who come to participate in the trade fair, but there are also many people from the Qinglong gang. Among these people, in addition to those who patrol and maintain order in the venue, there are naturally arranged agents. Anyway, agents are all unfamiliar faces, and no one will ask in detail what family power the other party comes from. Besides, everyone knows that finding agents is a big deal, and it is useless to worry about it. When the time comes, those who can afford to buy the things that participate in the auction will buy them, and those who can't afford to buy them will not buy them. It's that simple. Lin Fan and his 4 companions quickly came to the front row according to their seat numbers. This is the place closest to the auction table, and they can see the auction items very directly. There are more than 10 seats in the first row. In addition to Lin Fan and his 4 companions, there are other people there. Even the people from the Fang family are in the first row, but they are not sitting together with Lin Fan and his 4 companions. There are several people in the middle, belonging to another family. Li Zihan sits on Lin Fan's left, and Murinzhu and Murinshan sit on Lin Fan's right. At this time, Li Zihan whispered, these people next to them are from the Liao family. Is the strength of the Liao family slightly stronger than that of the Fang family? Lin Fan asked. Well, it should be. Li Zihan nodded, but it's hard to say. After all, the true strength of some families has not been shown, and no one knows whether there are any hidden masters in their families. The seat numbers of the Liao family are 5, 6, 7, and 8, and Lin Fan made an inference based on the seat numbers. However, what Li Zihan said makes sense. The situation investigated by the Qinglong gang may not be the most real situation of each family. It is possible that the real strength of the Fang family is stronger than that of the Liao family. Of course, it is still difficult to judge the specific situation. What is the attitude of the Liao family on that matter? Lin Fan also asked in a low voice. Sitting so close to each other, if you speak too loudly, it is easy for the other party to hear, so you can only communicate in a low voice. Therefore, when he and Li Zihan talked, even Murinzhu and Murinshan, who were sitting next to them, could not hear what they were saying. There is no clear attitude. Li Zihan frowned slightly and said, I feel like they are fence sitters. Fence sitters? Lin Fan was stunned by this description. Well, they should be fence sitters, Li Zihan explained. From my contact with them, they seem to be waiting and watching. If the Qinglong gang is stronger, they will definitely lean towards the Qinglong gang. If we are stronger, they will lean towards our side. I see. Lin Fan nodded and said, Although the behavior of fence-sitters is hateful, no matter what, at least they are not 100% sure to stand on the side of the Qinglong gang. This is also a good phenomenon. As long as you show a little more strength and establish an alliance, I think the people of the Liao family should calm down and think carefully. Even if they do not choose to support either side, it is better than them standing on the opposite side. Well, that's true. Li Zihan nodded slightly, thinking that what Lin Fan said made sense. Anyway, after you return to the Li family, you should tell your grandfather and father everything about the family forces you have come into contact with, and they will have a specific analysis and consideration, Lin Fan said. Okay, Li Zihan nodded again. Brother Lin Fan, what are you two whispering about? Muran Shan asked curiously when she saw that Lin Fan and Li Zihan had stopped talking. Just chatting casually, Lin Fan smiled faintly, then gave Muran Shan a look, indicating that they should be careful not to be heard by others, so they spoke quietly. Muran Shan knew what Lin Fan meant, and made an okay gesture to Lin Fan. Time passed slowly, and soon it was 8 o'clock. When a figure walked onto the auction stage, the entire auction venue became quiet, and eyes gathered towards that figure. This was a man about 30 years old, about 1.85 meters tall, of medium build, neither fat nor thin, not handsome, but not ugly either. However, the momentum on him shocked people. Just walking up to the auction platform, many people felt a sense of oppression. Especially the fierceness revealed between his eyebrows. Some people were scared. This man was the leader of the Qinglong gang, Dongfang Ling. The moment Dongfang Ling appeared, Lin Fan narrowed his eyes, and then, without hesitation, used the ring to read the data. Species, human level 3 strength. 15 speed. 15 reaction. 15 superpower, none. When Dongfang Ling's data information appeared in front of Lin Fan was also secretly surprised. He didn't expect that Dongfang Ling's data had reached 15. What does this mean? It means that Dongfang Ling is only one step away from becoming a 4th level evolver. With such strong strength, no wonder he can control the Qinglong gang. Lin Fan's eyes condensed slightly. Now he can understand very clearly why the Qinglong gang is so powerful, mainly because Dongfang Ling is too strong. With all the data reaching 15, even if Li Xianyun fights with Dongfang Ling, he will probably be defeated by Dongfang Ling soon, and he can't be Dongfang Ling's opponent at all. The further the evolvers advance, the greater the gap in strength will be. If Dongfang Ling becomes a level 4 evolver, then a level 3 evolver like Li Xianyun can easily deal with more than a dozen of them. This is the huge gap between level 3 evolvers and level 4 evolvers. It is not an exaggeration to describe such a gap as an unbridgeable chasm. Brother Lin Fan, this guy has such a strong aura. Even though we are so far apart, I can feel an invisible pressure from him. What is his strength? Muran Shan took a deep breath, then looked at Lin Fan and asked in a low voice. Lin Fan could not tell them the specific data, so he could only vaguely say, I think he should be very close to the level 4 evolver. Maybe he is just a little bit away from entering the level 4 evolver stage. No wonder his aura is so strong. Muran Shan nodded in sudden enlightenment. The strong aura is not only reflected in his strength, but also because he has been in a high position for a long time, Lin Fan said. Well, anyway, this guy is difficult to deal with. Muran Shan wrinkled her nose. That's for sure. Lin Fan smiled helplessly. All the data have reached 15, how can it not be difficult to deal with? Thinking about it this way, if this person really led the team to Zhonghe City, then the Li family would definitely have no power to resist. Chapter 286 Energy Crystal. Dongfang Ling walked straight forward and soon came to the front of the auction table. His eyes swept over everyone, and then his powerful voice slowly spread throughout the auction venue. Some friends may not know me yet. Let me introduce myself first. I am the leader of the Qinglong gang, and my name is Dongfang Ling. First of all, welcome all friends to this trade fair. This trade fair is the first one we have held. We are very honored to have you here. I won't say any more extra polite words. Let me briefly tell you the rules of this trade fair. This trade fair adopts the auction model. I believe everyone is familiar with this model. We have assessed a minimum starting price for each item. According to the bidding rules, the highest bidder wins. Dongfang Ling's voice is very penetrating. It is a feeling that it is difficult to not listen to him carefully. His voice seems to penetrate into your mind, making you have to listen to what he says. I declare that this trade fair is officially open, Dongfang Ling said. looking back at the people standing behind the auction table, and said, "Our deputy gang leader Yan Xiaobing will host this auction for everyone." After he finished speaking, another person walked out from behind the auction table. Behind this person, there was a group of women. These women had good figures and faces, and they were holding trays in their hands. The things in the trays were obviously the items to be auctioned this time. Deputy gang leader, Lin Fan locked his eyes on Yan Xiaobing and also used the ring to read Yan Xiaobing's various data. Species, human level, level 3 strength, 14 speed, 14 reaction, 13 superpower. None. This person's strength is also stronger than the head of the Li family. Lin Fan was silent in his heart. Li Xianyun's various data were 13, while Yan Xiaobing's only reaction data was 13, and his strength and speed both reached 14. Putting aside other things, just looking at this data, if Li Xianyun and Yan Xiaobing fight, there is no chance of winning. This guy's skin is too good. It's almost the same as our girl's skin. Murang Shan's beautiful eyes fell on Yan Xiaobing, and after taking a look, she couldn't help but complain. This was the first time she saw a woman with such white skin. Oh, no, a man. The skin is indeed very good, Murangzu nodded, and his aura is not weak, but it will be covered up by the gang leader. You observe very carefully. Lin Fan praised Murangzu and said, "Don't look at this deputy gang leader's appearance as a little feminine, but his strength is also very strong, not much worse than that gang leader. This gang really has a feeling of crouching tiger hidden dragon." Li Zihong sighed beside him. "It feels a bit like that, but don't worry too much. They have a large number of people and control resources. It is normal for their strength to increase quickly. If they control so many resources and their strength increases slowly, then we should feel strange," Lin Fan said. "Well, yes, if they don't have many resources, they can't take out the third-level energy crystal for auction," Li Zihong nodded. At this point, Lin Fan thought of a question, that is, Dongfang Ling's various data have reached 15, and he is only one step away from breaking through to become a fourth-level evolver. And they have at least 3 or more third-level energy crystals in their hands. Why doesn't Dongfang Ling use the third-level energy crystals to help him break through and become a fourth-level evolver? After that, he can sweep the entire Songhai province alone. Although Lin Fan has not visited the entire Songhai province, he can be sure that there is definitely no fourth-level evolver in the entire Songhai province. If there is, it is definitely not the turn of the Qinglong gang to develop to this point. Zihan, do you still remember that Liu Feng said last night that they will take out at least 3 energy crystals for auction? Lin Fan asked. I remember, Li Zihan nodded and asked in confusion, what's wrong? I only have 30 tubes of mutagenic factors on me, and together with yours, it is 80 tubes. If you want to queue up to buy 3 third-level energy crystals, then our mutagenic factors are not enough. Lin Fan asked this, and Li Zihan misunderstood his meaning and thought he wanted to bid for 3 third-level energy crystals. That's not what I meant. Lin Fan shook his head and said, what I meant is that they have mastered these level 3 energy crystals, but their leader didn't use them to break through directly. This is a bit confusing to me. That's what you're asking about, Li Zihan said. It's not that he doesn't use level 3 energy crystals to break through his own strength, but the use of energy crystals is also limited. Restrictions? What are the specific restrictions? Lin Fan asked curiously. Well, how should I put it? Li Zihan thought for a while and said, anyway, what I heard from my grandfather is that if a level 2 evolver uses level 3 energy crystals, the effect is the best, and if a level 3 evolver wants to get a good effect, then he must use level 4 energy crystals. As for level 3 energy crystals, they must be used in large quantities to have a significant effect. I see, Lin Fan nodded. If there is such a restriction, it doesn't make sense. No wonder Dongfang Ling didn't use level 3 energy crystals to break through to the level 4 evolver stage directly. It turns out that a large number of level 3 energy crystals are needed. It is estimated that the number of level 3 energy crystals in their hands is not enough for Dongfang Ling to break through to the level 4 evolver. So they simply put them up for auction in exchange for mutagenic factors, so that more people in the Qinglong gang can become evolvers. In this way, they can speed up the expansion. The more territory they occupy, the more resources they will have, and the faster they will get level 3 energy crystals. After all, occupying a territory means that they have the final say over that territory. Whether it is evolved animals or evolved zombies that appear in that territory, they can only deal with them and collect them. As for obtaining level 4 energy crystals to break through strength, That is obviously just a dream. Level 4 energy crystals can only be produced in the bodies of level 4 zombies. The ability of level 4 zombies is not something that level 3 evolvers can deal with. Dongfang Ling himself is probably more clear about this than anyone else. While Lin Fan and Li Zihan were talking, Tian Xiaobing had already walked in front of Dongfang Ling with a group of women carrying trays. "Boss," Tian Xiaobing greeted Dongfang Ling very respectfully. This respectful attitude was just like when Liu Feng faced him. Because Liu Feng didn't dare to act rashly in front of him. He also didn't dare to act rashly in front of Dongfang Ling. Chapter 287 The first auction item. "Well, the next hosting job will be handed over to you." Facing Tian Xiaobing's respect, Dongfang Ling just nodded calmly, without any personal emotion in his words. Tian Xiaobing was obviously used to Dongfang Ling's attitude, and hurriedly said, "Don't worry, boss, I will do a good job of hosting, that's fine." Dongfang Ling didn't say much, and then walked back to the back of the auction table. Of course, he didn't walk down the auction table. At the end of the auction table, there was a domineering and comfortable chair, which was the seat for him to sit. Sitting in this place, he could see the entire auction venue clearly at a glance. After Dongfang Ling walked over and sat down, Tian Xiaobing looked at the crowd. "My name is Tian Xiaobing, I'm in charge of this auction, I hope you can come and support me." Tian Xiaobing briefly introduced himself, waved his hand, and said, "The first item we are going to auction today, I think everyone should have heard of it in their daily lives. Even if you haven't heard of it, you should have seen it on TV or in movies, but few people have really come into contact with it." After the voice fell, Tian Xiaobing waved to the woman holding a tray on the far left. Seeing this, the woman did not delay and immediately walked to Tian Xiaobing with a tray. These trays were covered with a red cloth, and the items to be auctioned were hidden under the red cloth. Before the red cloth was opened first, no one could see what was inside. However, Tian Xiaobing's words caused a lot of discussion in the venue. "Have you seen it in TV movies? But rarely come into contact with it in real life? What on earth is this? Is it a prop from a TV movie? Think about it and you know it can't be a prop. Now that the doomsday has broken out, what are we going to do with props? What's more, this is the first item to be auctioned at the trade fair, it can't be that simple." "Of course I know it can't be that simple, isn't this just a random guess? What on earth could it be?" Everyone discussed loudly, and they were all full of curiosity about the first item to be auctioned today. "Brother Lin Fan, what do you think that thing is?" Muran Shen also looked at the tray curiously, but she couldn't guess what it was, so she turned her head to look at Lin Fan. "This is indeed difficult to guess." Lin Fan shook his head helplessly and smiled, saying, "There are so many things that appear in TV movies. If we guess this, how long will it take to guess it?" "Yeah, that's right, this guy is really something, wouldn't it be better to just say what it is directly, but he has to keep it a secret," Muran Shan complained unhappily. "Xiao Shan, this is an auction. The purpose of an auction is to create this kind of atmosphere. Look at how heatedly those other people are discussing this." Murongshan touched Murongshan's hair and continued, "The more heated their discussion is, the higher the price of the item will be, and the more profit they will get. Well, I just think that his behavior of keeping it a secret is really asking for a beating." Murongshan waved her fist. Lin Fan laughed at Murongshan's action. He could imagine that if he could really go up and hit someone, Murongshan would probably rush faster than anyone else and would definitely be the first to hit Tian Xiaobing. Murongsu was also amused and said, "From their perspective, neither side deserves a beating." Tian Xiaobing was obviously very satisfied with the heated discussion of the audience. Just as Murongsu said, the more heated the discussion was, the higher the price of the item would be, and this was the effect they wanted to see. After the discussion gradually died down, Tian Xiaobing put his hand on the red cloth. "Everyone, this first item is..." Tian Xiaobing deliberately dragged his voice, pulled the red cloth open, and said, "Laser gun." Without the red cloth covering it, the things on the tray naturally appeared in everyone's sight. Laser gun, everyone couldn't help but be stunned. They didn't expect that the first item to be auctioned today would be a laser gun. This thing was similar to what Tian Xiaobing described. In daily life, they had only seen it on TV and in movies, and few people had contact with it in real life. After all, weapons like laser guns were definitely in the hands of the government and the military before the doomsday, and it was impossible for them to appear in front of ordinary people. Tian Xiaobing reached out and picked up the laser gun from the tray and showed it to everyone. Then, He slowly said, "This laser gun has a very strong power. Although it can't be used against a level 3 evolver, it will definitely not be a big problem to use it against a level 2 evolver, especially when firing in secret. It is even more difficult to defend against, no matter how strong a level 2 evolver is. As long as he's shot, he will be seriously injured if not killed." I am absolutely not exaggerating. Lin Fan's understanding of laser guns is neither too early nor too late. At least, compared to many people here, he is definitely familiar with it. Because he has used a laser gun himself. Even if the model of the laser gun in Tian Xiaobing's hand is different, this kind of thing is similar and not much different. Tian Xiaobing is telling the truth. If a hot weapon like a laser gun is used against a level 3 evolver, the level 3 evolver can probably dodge it with its agile speed and strong reaction. However, if it is used against a level 2 evolver, the level 2 evolver may not be able to dodge it. Once the laser gun is shot at the body, the damage to the body can definitely be described as fatal. So, Tian Xiaobing is indeed not exaggerating about this. I didn't expect it to be a laser gun. This thing is very powerful. If you can get it, you won't be afraid of level 2 evolvers anymore. Yet, such a powerful thing, I guess only the Qinglong Gang can put it up for auction. But don't forget, this thing can't be used infinitely. It will be useless after the laser energy is consumed. You want to use a weapon that can deal with level 2 evolvers infinitely? You're dreaming. That's right. With this thing on you, you may be able to save your life at any time. The discussion spread again. It can be seen that everyone is also quite interested in this laser gun. Lin Fan, what do you think the starting price of this laser gun will be? Murenzhu asked. I'll guess first. Murenshan said first. 3 tubes of mutagenic factors. I guess 4 tubes of mutagenic factors. Li Zihan also guessed a number. Lin Fan didn't answer, but looked at Murenzhu and asked, what about you? How many do you guess? 5 tubes? Murenzhu said. Chapter 288, Fierce Bidding. Murenshan, Li Zihan and Murenzhu, one guessed 3, one guessed 4, and one guessed 5. The data given by the 3 of them were not much different. Brother Lin Fan, it's your turn. My sister asked you first, but you were the last one to answer. Murenshan rolled her eyes at Lin Fan. When she said this, she obviously forgot that she was the first to answer. Lin Fan didn't argue with her, and said with a smile, I guess the starting price is 1 tube of mutagenic factor. What? 1 tube? The answer given by Lin Fan made Murenzhu, Murenshan and Li Zihan look shocked. They never thought that Lin Fan would guess so little. Brother Lin Fan, did you miss a 0? Murenshan said with a confused look on her face. No, it shouldn't be missing a 0, so there wouldn't be such a high starting price for 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, but it shouldn't be so low. If there are not many bidders for 1 tube of mutagenic factors, or even only 1 or 2 bidders, wouldn't it be sold at a very low price? Murenzhu and Li Zihan agreed with Murenshan's analysis. They also thought that this was the truth. With such a low starting price, if there were only 1 or 2 people participating in the auction, the transaction price would definitely not be raised too high. In this case, wouldn't the Qinglong Gang be the one who loses money? They believed that the Qinglong Gang would not do such a thing as losing money on the first auction item. First of all, there must be more than 1 or 2 people bidding for this laser gun. You just heard others' discussion. If this kind of thing is used well, it is similar to a life-saving charm. It is very likely to save your life at a critical moment. How could there be only 1 or 2 people bidding for something that can save your life? Secondly, if the bidders are not very good at bidding, the Qinglong Gang will definitely arrange to raise the price according to the situation. In any case, this is the first item to be auctioned at this trade fair. They will definitely not let themselves suffer a loss and will raise the price to a level they think is appropriate. Lin Fan made a very detailed analysis. Of course, when he was analyzing, he controlled his voice very well so that others would not hear it. In addition, the discussion in the venue is quite intense. Unless someone's hearing was extremely good, they would definitely not hear what they said. After listening to Lin Fan's analysis, Murenzhu, Murenshan and Li Zihan instantly changed their original ideas and felt that what Lin Fan said made sense. Everyone, please be quiet for a while. It's not too late for everyone to discuss after I announce the starting price. Seeing that the discussion in the venue could not be heard, Tian Xiaobing had to remind them. After his words spread, the venue gradually quieted down, and everyone's eyes were focused on him again. The starting price of this laser gun is 1 tube of mutagenic factor. Each bid must not be less than 1 tube of mutagenic factor. Now, start the bidding, Tianxiaobing said loudly. Wow. As soon as this was said, there was an uproar in the venue. Obviously, no one expected that the starting price of the laser gun would be so low. Brother Lin Fan, you are so amazing. I admire you more and more. You can even guess this. Shan looked at Lin Fan with little stars in her eyes. She also added, Brother Lin Fan, why didn't you buy lottery tickets every day before the doomsday? If you bought lottery tickets every day, you would have become the richest man in the world long ago. Haha, even if I win 5 million every day, that's only 1.8 billion a year. How much assets did the world's richest man have before the doomsday? How many years do I have to buy lottery tickets to surpass him? Lin Fan said with a smile. Really? Winning 5 million every day, only 1.8 billion a year? I thought I could become the richest man in the world in 1 year. Sham stuck out her tongue cutely. However, the three of them were amazed at Lin Fan's ability to guess the starting price. You know, so many people were surprised by this, but Lin Fan guessed it correctly, which can only mean that Lin Fan is indeed different from ordinary people. At least, his brain circuits are different. I'll bid 2 tubes. After a heated discussion broke out, someone shouted the first bid. I'll bid 3 tubes. Immediately afterwards, the second bid was heard. 4 tubes, 5 tubes, 6 tubes, 7 tubes. In less than 2 minutes, the price of the laser gun was raised from 1 tube of mutagenic factor to 7 tubes of mutagenic factor. After reaching this price, many people calmed down. It's not that they think the laser gun is not worth the price, but that the price is beyond their affordability, and they simply can't afford so many mutagenic factors. Of course, after eliminating the people from small family forces, there are still people who continue to bid. 8 tubes, another voice of raising the price spread. Everyone looked over and saw that the person who spoke was a man with a full beard and a burly appearance. This man has a very distinctive look. Shan laughed. Li Zihan also looked at the man and said, this is from the Hu family. Before the doomsday, their family was considered a second-rate family in Zhonghai province. After the doomsday, it was almost in the ranks of second-rate families. Are the strongest people in these second-rate families still at the level of second-level evolvers? Lin Fan asked. Yes, that's how it's divided. Li Zihan nodded and said, if someone in a second-rate family breaks through and becomes a third-level evolver, then they will naturally become a powerful family in Zhonghai province. After the bearded man shouted out the price of 8 tubes of mutagenic factors, no one continued to raise the price for a while. The bearded man also smiled and looked at the laser gun as if he was already looking at what he had in his pocket. Is there anyone else who continues to raise the price? Tianxiaobing asked as he scanned the scene. Hearing his voice, one person quickly responded and shouted, 9 tubes? Everyone looked at the man again, but almost no one recognized who he was. This person must be a shill? Shan said. Yes, he is indeed a shill, but the fact that he is still bidding now is enough to prove that 8 tubes of mutagenic factors are not their psychological price. Lin Fan nodded. Then, the bearded man's face changed. He could roughly guess that the person who raised the price just now was a shill, but the laser gun was something he wanted very much. If he was asked to give it up like this, he would be a little reluctant. After thinking about it, he decided to raise the price again. If the other party continued to raise the price, he would have to give it up reluctantly. 10 tubes. The bearded man shouted. Chapter 289 A Sword. When the bearded man continued to raise the price, Lin Fan's eyes immediately shifted to Tianxiaobing. He could clearly see that Tianxiaobing's eyes flashed with a barely perceptible smile. Obviously, Tianxiaobing was happy that the agent they arranged had worked successfully. Okay, you're so cruel. I won't raise the price, the man who just shouted the price of 9 pipes said loudly. When the bearded man heard this, he almost lost his beard in anger. Seeing the pained look on the bearded man's face, Sham couldn't help laughing out loud out of sympathy. That guy's expression is so funny, I guess he's going to explode now. Lin Fan smiled and said, originally, he only had to offer 8 tubes of mutagenic factors to get the laser gun, but because the agent raised the price once, he had to spend 2 more tubes of mutagenic factors. If he wasn't angry, then I can only admire his good psychological quality. Yes, the extra 2 tubes of mutagenic factors were purely wronged. If ice could kill, the agent would have been riddled with holes now. Shan laughed as she spoke. There was no way, The bearded man's expression was so funny, the type that was very angry himself, but very funny to outsiders. On the auction table, Tian Xiaobing asked calmly, 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, is there anyone who continues to bid? If no one bids, then this laser gun will belong to that friend. After half a minute, there was still no sound of further bidding in the auction venue. This was expected by Tian Xiaobing, but the auction process was like this, and it had to be done according to the process. Okay, the first auction item, the laser gun, I declare it officially sold. Tian Xiaobing took the laser gun, looked at the bearded man, and said, friend, please come to the stage, we complete the transaction on the spot, we don't have to wait until the end of the trade fair to get it done, this is also for you to get the auction items as soon as possible. That being said, anyone who is not a fool knows that this is the Qinglong Gang's way to avoid someone irresponsibly bidding and then not giving the mutagenic factor, or in other words, not being able to produce the mutagenic factor. If they wait until the end of the trade fair to trade, in case the other party finds a chance to run away, although there are Qinglong Gang members everywhere, it is better to be safe than sorry. Therefore, in order to avoid such a thing from happening, they adopt the method of immediate trading on the spot, and each item is traded in front of everyone immediately after the auction. In this way, if someone is a rogue, they can kill the chicken to scare the monkey, telling everyone not to play tricks with them, otherwise the end will be quite miserable. It must be said that this move really played a big role. Some people who thought that they could just bid randomly later quickly gave up such an idea. After all, when they were bidding randomly, no one continued to bid, and they couldn't produce so many mutagenic factors, then they would be dead. The bearded man didn't waste any time, and quickly walked to the auction table, took out 10 tubes of mutagenic factors and handed them to Tian Xiaobing. Tian Xiaobing checked and confirmed that there was no problem with the 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, and then handed the laser gun to the bearded man. The bearded man took the laser gun and didn't waste any time. He turned around and walked down the auction table and returned to his seat. Although he no longer had mutagenic factors to continue to participate in the next auction, the auction was not over yet, and he also wanted to see what else would appear later. Tian Xiaobing waved his hand and asked the first woman with a tray to go down. Then, the second woman with a tray came forward. Everyone, the second item to be auctioned today is a specially made weapon. Tian Xiaobing did not keep the secret this time. While speaking, he lifted the red cloth covering the second tray and reached out to pick up the object. It was a sword about 1 meter long. This sword is a weapon specially made by the forging master in our gang. Just saying this to everyone may not be very effective. Now let me show you the power of this sword. Tian Xiaobing smiled faintly. Then, he fixed his eyes on the ground of the auction table, holding the sword in his hand and swung it down violently. The sword flew out of his hand, and with a clang, the sword body sank into the ground. The sword trembled slightly for a few times and then stuck steadily into the ground. Tian Xiaobing walked forward, stretched out his hand to hold the hilt of the sword, pulled it out of the ground with force, held it upright in his hand, and showed everyone the tip of the sword and the part of the sword body that had just sunk into the ground. Look, everyone. After the sword was inserted into the ground, not only is there no damage to the sword body, but even the tip of the sword is intact. I think this is enough to show how sharp and sturdy the sword is. Tian Xiaobing smiled and said, use this sword to chop off the zombie's head. There will be no problem of the sword body getting stuck in the zombie's head. As soon as Tian Xiaobing finished speaking, as expected, discussions broke out in the conference hall. What a sharp sword! It can be inserted into the ground and pulled out without leaving any traces. It is indeed very sharp. The weapons I used to deal with zombies often got stuck in the zombies' heads. With such a sharp weapon in hand, this problem will definitely not occur again. I guess the transaction price of this sword will not be too low. I wonder who will get it. I don't have a mutagenic factor to bid. If I did, I would definitely buy this sword. Close-range weapons are what we often use. I think this sword is more practical than a laser gun. Yes, the laser gun still has laser energy when it is exhausted, but this sword does not need any energy to supply. As long as you have the strength to hold it, it will be fine. Discussions spread one after another. For the bearded man, he pretended not to hear these voices. After all, he got the laser gun not to kill zombies in normal times, but to save his life at critical moments. Brother Lin Fan, this sword is not made of the special material that Mr. Wang mentioned, right? Muran Shen asked curiously, her beautiful eyes flashing. That material is called thunder nickel steel. Lin Fan first told Murin Shan the name of the material, and then continued, "But I think that the material of this sword should not be the thunder nickel steel that Mr. Wang used, it may be another material." Although Lin Fan didn't know much about thunder nickel steel, he had seen it with his own eyes, and his halberd was made of thunder nickel steel. He knew very well that weapons made of thunder nickel steel would have a weak reflective effect under the sunlight. He especially stared at the sword in Bian Xiaobing's hand and observed it from all angles, but he didn't see any reflective effect. Therefore, he felt that the sword in Bian Xiaobing's hand was not made of thunder nickel steel. Chapter 290 Bought as a gift. Isn't it made of thunder nickel steel? Brother Lin Fan, how do you tell the difference? Murin Shan asked curiously. She also had a long sword made of thunder nickel steel by Old Wang, but she didn't notice any difference. Murin Zhu also looked at Lin Fan with some curiosity. Obviously, she, like Murin Shan, didn't know how to tell the difference. Li Zihan didn't understand what they were talking about, because she had never come into contact with thunder nickel steel before. But from the topic they discussed, she could understand that thunder nickel steel should be a special material for making weapons, and this material seemed to be very good. It's very simple to tell the difference. Just see if it has a reflective effect, Lin Fan explained. The weapons that Elder Wang made for us with thunder nickel steel will have a more or less reflective effect under the sunlight. You should have noticed this, and the sword in the hands of the deputy gang leader? I looked carefully and didn't see any reflection, so I was sure that the sword was not made of thunder nickel steel. Hearing what Lin Fan said, Murin Shan nodded in sudden realization and said, yes, I remember that the weapons that Elder Wang made for us do reflect light under the sunlight. Yeah, I have some impression, Murin Zhu nodded. Brother Lin Fan, which one is more powerful, the sword in his hand or the weapon that Elder Wang made for us? Murin Shan suddenly became curious about this question. Lin Fan thought about it and shook his head. It's hard to say. After all, from the situation where he just stabbed the sword into the ground, it can be seen that the sword is indeed very sharp and strong. Without actual combat, it is really hard to judge who is stronger and who is weaker. In fact, Lin Fan still prefers the weapon made by Old Wang for them. Of course, this is just an intuition, and there is no direct evidence to prove it. On the auction stage, Tian Xiaobing listened to the heated discussions of the crowd, and his face seemed to be about to smile. He was very satisfied with such a reaction. Everyone, the starting price of this sword is still 1 tube of mutagenic factor. Each bid must not be less than 1 tube. Friends who want to get this sword can start bidding, Tian Xiaobing announced. The starting price is another tube of mutagenic factor. The same routine. But as long as it works, it doesn't matter if it's a routine or not, as long as someone takes the bait. Soon someone started to bid. They all lacked sharp and strong close-range weapons. With that sword, this problem can be perfectly solved. If Lin Fan and his friends didn't have the weapons made by Old Wang, then Lin Fan might also participate in the auction. Unfortunately, with a weapon made by Old Man Wang, he no longer cares about other weapons. Old Man Wang's ability is in the field of forging. When the level of his ability is increased, the weapons he forges will only get better and better. Why would he need weapons forged by others? After a while, the price of this sword was called out to 5 tubes of mutagenic factor. 6 tubes? Suddenly, another voice spread. This surprised Lin Fan and the other 3, and they all looked at the source of the voice at the same time. Because the person who bid this time was none other than Fang Zhou. He actually participated in the auction, Murin Shan muttered. Maybe he doesn't have a close-quarters weapon and wants to get a better close-quarters weapon to carry with him, Murin Zhu said. Lin Fan didn't think so. He thought Fang Zhou participated in the auction of this sword not for his own use, but to give it to Li Zihan as a gift. However, this was just his guess. Only Fang Zhou himself knew what Fang Zhou was thinking. Is the person bidding the price from the Fang family? Yes, he is from the Fang family. And he seems to be the young master of the Fang family. Oh my god, I give up. The Fang family is such a big family, and they want to bid for this sword with us. How can we win the bid? That's right, we can't compare with the Fang family's rich resources. Forget it, let's not bid. Yeah, that makes sense. If we continue to bid, not only will we lose the bid, but we will also offend the Fang family. It's not worth it. Yes, if the Fang family holds a grudge and remembers us, they may target us in the future. Everyone looked at Fang Zhou, and after recognizing him, they shook their heads and gave up the idea of continuing to bid. They all knew that the Fang family was a big family in Zhonghe province, and the resources in the family were not comparable to theirs. Although the sword was very good, it was obviously not a rational decision to offend a giant like the Fang family for a sword. After thinking about it, everyone gave up, and no one continued to bid. However, another voice soon spread. 7 tubes? This voice, without any guessing, was shouted by the Qinglong Gang's agent. Fang Zhou knew it well, and shouted with a smile, 8 tubes? This is the highest price I can offer. If this friend continues to raise the price, then I can only give up. He said this openly, meaning to tell the other party that you can continue to be an agent to raise the price, but if you continue to raise the price, then I will not raise it. The Qinglong Gang's intention is to auction things at a suitable price, rather than raising the price so that the things cannot be auctioned. The price of 8 tubes of mutagenic factors is actually not much different for this sword, so there is no need to continue to raise the price. Therefore, even if Fang Zhou did not emphasize it so much, the other party would not continue to raise the price. Tian Xiaobing asked again according to the procedure if anyone else continued to raise the price. As it turned out, no one raised the price. Okay, congratulations to this friend for obtaining this weapon at the price of 8 tubes of mutagenic factors. Please come to the stage to handle the transaction. Tian Xiaobing looked at Fang Zhou and said. Uncle 2, Uncle 3, I'm going up, Fang Zhou said to the 2 uncles sitting next to him, then immediately stood up and walked towards the auction table. He took out 8 tubes of mutagenic factors and handed them to Tian Xiaobing. Tian Xiaobing checked and confirmed that there was no problem with the 8 tubes of mutagenic factors, then handed the sword in his hand to Fang Zhou. When Fang Zhou got the sword, he secretly glanced at Li Zihun. Although he looked secretly, it still did not escape Lin Fan's observation. Now, Lin Fan can be 100% sure that Fang Zhou participated in the auction of this sword to give it to Li Zihun. However, in front of so many people, the trade fair has not ended yet. He can't come over now to give it to Li Zihun, that would be too much of a limelight. So, after secretly taking a look at Li Zihun, he took the sword and went down the auction table. Uncle Fang looked at the sword carefully and said, the price of 8 tubes of mutagenic factors is about the same, but you don't want to use it yourself, but want to give it to Li Zihun, right? Fang Zhou's face flushed slightly when he was exposed. He coughed dryly and said, Uncle, I can't hide anything from you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291 Auction of Use Rights. The auction was still going on, and the items to be auctioned next were all pretty good. It was obvious that the Qinglong Gang had put in a lot of effort for this trade fair, and there was no sign of perfunctory work. Let's take a look at the 8th item to be auctioned today. Tian Xiaobing waved his hand, and the 8th woman with a tray came forward. He reached out and lifted the red cloth covering the tray, and then picked up something on the tray. Surprisingly, it was a piece of paper. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. It would be fine if other things were auctioned for a good price, but how could a piece of paper be auctioned? Did they have to frame it and hang it on the wall after buying it? Tian Xiaobing didn't mind the gazes of the crowd. He smiled and said, I think everyone should be very curious about why the 8th item we auctioned is a piece of paper. I can tell you responsibly that this is not an ordinary piece of paper. On it, there is a promise written by our gang leader himself, and this promise is the right to use He County in Bei'an City. When Tian Xiaobing finished speaking, the entire venue fell into a brief silence. Everyone looked at each other, and none of them really understood what Tian Xiaobing meant. Deputy Gang Leader Tian, what does this right to use mean? A man sitting in the second row asked with a puzzled look on his face. This man was a powerful person, not a shill arranged by the Qinglong Gang. Tian Xiaobing glanced at him, then looked at everyone again and said, the meaning of the right of use is that He County will be handed over to you, and you can move to He County collectively to live. In this way, within the scope of our Bei'an City, you will be protected by us, which is equivalent to our providing you with security. You know, He County is definitely a very important county in Bei'an City. With this explanation, everyone naturally understood the meaning of the right of use. I didn't expect that the Qinglong Gang would take out such an item for auction. I thought it was something strange, but I didn't expect it to be just this. Muran Shan curled her lips. She was still very curious just now, but now she became uninterested in the blink of an eye. Don't underestimate the right of use of this auction. In fact, this is also their observation of various families and forces. Lin Fan's eyes sank and he said with concentration, "Observe various families and forces." Muran Shan was slightly startled and asked quickly, "Brother Lin Fan, how do you observe this?" Muran Zhu and Li Zihan were also very confused about this. They didn't understand what Lin Fan meant by observation. Lin Fan said solemnly, "What the other party said is right. After obtaining this right of use, you can move to He County to live. He County is an important county in Bei'an City. The Qinglong Gang will not let He County have any major security problems. Even if there is a zombie outbreak, if He County cannot resist it, they will help to resist it. This is beyond doubt, but from another perspective, He County belongs to Bei'an City, and Bei'an City is the base of the Qinglong Gang. If a family force moves to He County, doesn't it mean that they agree to be incorporated into the Qinglong Gang? This is also a disguised surrender, but it is solved through the form of auction. It sounds more face-saving and not so unbearable." From the moment Yan Xiaobing finished speaking, Lin Fan had realized this. In addition to earning mutagenic factors, the main reason for auctioning such a right of use is that they want to see if there are any family forces willing to set an example of surrender in advance. After hearing what Lin Fan said, Muran Zhu, Muran Shan and Li Zihan suddenly realized it. They really do things in a watertight manner. Even for this kind of trade fair, they have to test the minds of the major family forces first, Muran Zhu said. Yes, it is indeed very watertight. The sooner they understand it, the better they can make the next plan, Lin Fan said. If anyone takes the paper, it means that he is willing to submit to them, Li Zihan said. Yes, that's what I mean, Lin Fan added. Even the people participating in the auction have such thoughts. Well, without such thoughts, they would not participate in this auction, Li Zihan nodded. Pay attention later, and write down the family forces that participated in the bidding. It can be basically 100% certain that those who have participated will not stand on your side, Lin Fan reminded. Okay, I remember, Li Zihan nodded again. She felt more and more that it was too reliable to have someone like Lin Fan around. No matter what he did, Lin Fan could think very carefully, without any mistakes, and every aspect was considered clearly and clearly. Everyone, the starting price for the right to use He County is 8 tubes of mutagenic factors, and each bid must not be less than 2 tubes. You can start bidding, Tian Xiaobing said loudly. It suddenly increased. Muran Shan whispered, the starting price is 4 tubes, and each bid must not be less than 2 tubes. I think the transaction price must be at least 20 tubes, more than that. Lin Fan shook his head and said, the transaction price will definitely not be lower than 30 tubes, and it is even possible to exceed 40 tubes, more than 40 tubes, Muran Shan said in surprise. Brother Lin Fan, isn't this too much? That's 40 tubes of mutagenic factors, not 40 useless stones. Muran Shan felt that the data Lin Fan said was indeed too high. It was not easy to collect 40 tubes of mutagenic factors. Think about it. Liu Feng said that the transaction price of a third-level energy crystal can be about 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. So, can the right to use a county city not be worth more than a third-level energy crystal? Lin Fan pondered and said, the most important thing is that they put forward such conditions to recruit people to surrender. There should be many family forces participating in the auction, but in the end, only one family will be successfully auctioned. This family will be the first to surrender. If they don't give more mutagenic factors to show their loyalty, it will be embarrassing. Yes, the first family to show loyalty must work harder, Muran Shan said. Muran Zhu and Li Zihan nodded slightly. They agreed with Lin Fan's analysis. Lin Fan took a deep breath and said, in short, you will know after watching it. I am also curious about which party will be the first to show loyalty. As Lin Fan's voice fell, the sound of bidding spread. 6 tubes, 8 tubes, 12 tubes, 16 tubes, 20 tubes. Within 5 minutes, the price was raised to 20 tubes. Chapter 292 Finale Item. These people are too crazy. They have raised the price to 20 tubes so quickly. I thought they would be more tactful. Muran Shan couldn't help but sigh. It's normal. After all, the Qinglong Gang is now the well-deserved number 1. With such strength, it's understandable that they want to get along with the other party as soon as possible. Lin Fan was not surprised by the speed of the price increase. He said, however, after the price reaches 20 tubes, some of them should be eliminated. Even if they want to get along well, Their financial resources don't allow them to be arrogant. Many patriarchal forces can't afford 20 tubes of mutagenic factors. For example, the Li family only had 30 tubes of mutagenic factors in stock when Lin Fan and the other two first arrived at the Li family. These spineless guys are simply giving them mutagenic factors for free. I despise such people the most, Murin Shan complained. After watching this auction, I don't know anything else, but I can be sure that Murin Shan's complaints have never stopped. However, listening to her complaints is sometimes quite interesting. 22 tubes, soon, another party called for a price. 24 tubes, 26 tubes, 28 tubes, 30 tubes, in a blink of an eye, the price was raised to 30 tubes by three parties. These three parties are the Zhao family, the Sun family and the Xingate. The Zhao family and the Sun family are both families, and the Xingate is a force similar to the Qinglong gang, but its overall strength is far inferior to that of the Qinglong gang. Everyone's eyes are focused on these three forces. They can be sure that the person who will succeed in the final bid will definitely come from these three parties. The Zhao family glanced at the Sun family and the Xingate and said, "Are you two determined to compete? Haha, brother Zhao, you are joking. I just think He County is more suitable for our family. I am not deliberately targeting your family, brother Zhao," the Sun family responded with a faint smile. A woman in her 40s from the Xingate said in a leisurely voice, "This is an auction. If you can afford the price, then bid. If you can't, then give up. It's a fair principle." The Zhao family snorted coldly and shouted, 32 tubes, the Sun family continued to smile and said, 34 tubes, 36 tubes, the woman from the Xingate raised the price. 38 tubes, the Zhao family gritted their teeth. This number of mutagenic factors was the limit of what their family could bear. If the Sun family and the Xingate continued to raise the price, then the Zhao family would have to give up. After about 10 seconds, the Sun family spoke again, 40 tubes, although he still had a smile on his face, he was also helpless in his heart. 40 tubes of mutagenic factors were also the limit of what the Sun family could offer. No more could be offered. Now, everyone's eyes were focused on the woman from the Xingate. Even Tian Xiaobing on the auction table looked at the woman. The Xingman woman's eyes narrowed, and she raised the price, 42 tubes, okay, you're so ruthless. The Zhao family was forced to give up unwillingly. Each increase in the price must not be less than 2 tubes. If he raised the price again, it would be 44 tubes, but he simply couldn't afford so many mutagenic factors. The Sun family took a deep breath, and the smile on their faces gradually disappeared. There was a bit more coldness in their tone. "Yuan," he naturally said this to the Xingman woman, but when he spoke, he had already retracted his gaze and didn't look at the Xingman woman again. 42 tubes of mutagenic factors, you are really willing to bid, Murin Shan said. This price was almost accurate for Lin Fan. Using 42 tubes of mutagenic factors, I have made a first impression with the Qinglong gang. Maybe the people of Xingmen think this is also a good deal. Lin Fan smiled slightly. He said so, but he didn't think so in his heart. If it were him, he wouldn't show it so obviously. Because when the Qinglong gang really wants to expand, they can't refuse to accept those who are willing to surrender. After being accepted, the status of the gang will be determined by strength. Instead of giving away so many mutagenic factors for nothing, it is better to keep them for your own people to create more evolvers, so that they can have a real foothold after surrendering. Otherwise, it is only a matter of time before they are replaced by others. On the auction table, Tian Xiaobing was also very satisfied with the price of the 42 tubes of mutagenic factors. He originally expected that there would be 36 to 40 tubes, but he didn't expect that there would be 2 more tubes. Soon, he announced loudly, "Congratulations to this friend for the successful auction. Please go to the stage to handle the transaction." The woman from the Xingate did not waste any time and immediately walked up to the auction table. When she came to Tian Xiaobing, she whispered, "Meet the deputy gang leader." This greeting of meeting the deputy gang leader was already very clear, meaning to tell Tian Xiaobing that the Xingate fully agreed to surrender to the Qinglong gang. Tian Xiaobing nodded and smiled, saying, "Well, after the trade fair is over, we will discuss some things in detail." "Okay," the middle-aged woman nodded. Then, she took out the 42 tubes of mutagenic factors that she had prepared and handed them to Tian Xiaobing. Tian Xiaobing did not check whether there were any problems with the 42 tubes of mutagenic factors this time, because he believed that the middle-aged woman would not dare to play any tricks on him. After handing the paper to the middle-aged woman walked down from the auction table. Tian Xiaobing looked at the last woman standing on the podium. There was still only a tray in the woman's hand. But on the red cloth covering the tray, 3 bulges could be seen. At this time, everyone basically knew what was in the tray. Tian Xiaobing reached out and lifted the red cloth on the tray, revealing what was inside. As expected, there were 3 level 3 energy crystals. Taking out 3 at once. The Qinglong gang is really generous. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen a level 3 energy crystal. I didn't expect them to take out 3 at once for auction. I'm so envious. I wonder what price the level 3 energy crystal will be auctioned for. I estimate it won't be less than 20 tubes of mutagenic factors. What? 20 tubes of mutagenic factors? Your estimate is too low. It should be at least 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. Aren't 30 tubes of mutagenic factors too many? That can produce 30 level 1 evolvers, although level 3 energy crystals can increase the speed of evolvers. It can only be used on one person, not on multiple people. I guess 25 tubes of mutagenic factors. Everyone stared at the 3 level 3 energy crystals, and the voices of discussion were louder and more than before. Chapter 293 Energy Crystal Auction. Tian Xiaobing used the 3rd level energy crystal for the finale of the auction, and naturally wanted to see this scene. From the intensity of the discussion among the guys, he could already judge that regarding the auction of the 3rd level energy crystal, their agents didn't even need to participate, and they could auction it to the right price in their minds. Brother Lin Fan, I suddenly remembered something. Muran Shan looked at the 3 3rd level energy crystals on the tray with her beautiful eyes and blinked. What? Lin Fan asked. That's right, after getting rid of the banker, Sister Zihan gave you a 3rd level energy crystal. Didn't she also give you some mutagenic factors? Muran Shan asked. Yes, Lin Fan suddenly reacted and said, if you hadn't said it, I would have forgotten that there were a total of 25 tubes of mutagenic factors and a 3rd level energy crystal in that pocket at that time. I have absorbed the 3rd level energy crystal, but I seem to have put the 25 tubes of mutagenic factors in a backpack, not with the previous mutagenic factors. That backpack. Lin Fan thought about it and was about to say that a backpack seemed to be in the car. However, before he could finish, Muran Shan pointed to the backpack she had just taken off her shoulder and said, Brother Lin Fan, is this the backpack? This is it. Lin Fan nodded. Muran Shan quickly opened the backpack and searched inside, and indeed found the pocket. If Xiao Shan hadn't mentioned it, even I would have forgotten about it, Li Zihan also said beside him. She really didn't remember the mutagenic factor she got from the banker. At that time, she personally took it from Li Xianitun and gave it to Lin Fan. Muran Shan opened the pocket and counted it, saying, 25 tubes, not one more, not one less. As she said that, she handed the pocket to Lin Fan. Lin Fan reached out to take the bag, smiled faintly, and said, the 50 tubes here, plus the 25 tubes here, there are 75 tubes, enough to auction 2 level 3 energy crystals. Why not auction all 3 together? Li Zihan reminded. I still have 30 tubes of mutagenic factors here, and all we have added up to 105 tubes, so it shouldn't be a problem to get those 3. You can try. Lin Fan nodded. Li Zihan is also a level 2 evolver, and absorbing level 3 energy crystals is very beneficial to her. Fortunately, I have a good memory and remembered the 25 tubes, Muran Shan said excitedly. You remembering these 25 tubes of mutagenic factors is very beneficial to us. Lin Fan smiled faintly. The sudden accidental extra 25 tubes of mutagenic factors allowed them to auction all 3 level 3 energy crystals. This is indeed a considerable benefit. On the stage, Tian Xiaobing reached out and picked up a level 3 energy crystal, and introduced it. Many people should be familiar with this thing, but I believe that some people don't know it, so I'll still explain it to you in detail first. Tian Xiaobing was right. People who know about level 3 energy crystals know about it, but people who don't know it don't really understand it. For example, if Lin Fan and the other 2 hadn't gone to the Li family, they wouldn't have known that there were level 3 energy crystals in the bodies of level 3 zombies, let alone that level 3 energy crystals could make the evolution of evolvers faster. This thing is called level 3 energy crystal. It is from level 3. Tian Xiaobing quickly gave a detailed introduction to level 3 energy crystals. Then, a smile flashed on his face, and he said, there are 3 level 3 energy crystals in total. Considering that everyone's needs are different, we will not auction them together, but auction them one by one. Level 3 energy crystal. The starting price is 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, and each bid must not be less than 2 tubes of mutagenic factors. Friends who want it can start bidding. The starting price is 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, which is also to highlight the preciousness of level 3 energy crystals. If we auction one by one, then don't we have to participate 3 times? Murin Shan smiled. Haha, we do have to participate 3 times. Lin Fan also smiled. Brother Lin Fan, let them bid first. You can just bid at the end, Murin Shan said. Yeah, I think so too, Lin Fan nodded. He really didn't need to participate in the previous bidding process. 12 tubes, 14 tubes, 16 tubes, 18 tubes, 20 tubes. After a while, the price of the third level energy crystal was raised to 20 tubes by everyone. Moreover, the time it took to raise the price to 20 tubes was faster than the things that were auctioned before. It is enough to show that the third level energy crystal is very attractive to everyone. However, after the price exceeded 20 tubes, most people had to calm down. Because they did not carry that many mutagenic factors. There were also some people who had spent some money on the previous auctions. Now, even if they really wanted to get the third level energy crystal, they were powerless and had to give up and sit in their seats to watch others bid. 22 tubes, another shout came out. 24 tubes, another shout followed. Moreover, this shout was familiar to Lin Fan, Murin Zhu, Murin Shan and Li Zihun. It seems Fang Zhou also wants to bid for the third level energy crystal, Murin Zhu said. Yes, the voice of bidding came from Fang Zhou. Except for the sword at the beginning, the other items in the previous auction were not participated by their Fang family. 26 tubes, 28 tubes, 30 tubes, a young man in his 20s shouted the price up to 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. That's someone from the Meng family. When I met their family before, they were obviously on the side of the Qinglong gang. Li Zihong glanced at the source of the voice, recognized the young man, and then whispered in Lin Fan's ear. Well, this person's strength should be not simple. Lin Fan used the ring to read the data of the man from the Meng family and found that his various data reached 10. While Lin Fan was talking, Fang Zhou touched his nose, took a deep breath, and shouted, 32 tubes. The young man from the Meng family did not raise the price immediately. He also kept silent and thought for a while. After about 20 seconds, he continued, 34 tubes, damn. Hearing the other party shouting of raising the price, Fang Zhou had the urge to curse. He thought that since he had raised the price to 32 tubes, the other party should have given up, but he didn't expect that the other party would continue to raise the price. The most important thing is that they can only take out 32 tubes of mutagenic factors now, and they can't take out any more tubes. Not to mention that each bid cannot be less than 2 tubes. If I hadn't bid for that sword before, it would be enough, Uncle Fang said without any emotion. Chapter 294 36 tubes. Hearing what third Uncle Fang said, Fang Zhou scratched his head a little embarrassedly and said, ahem, third uncle, this sword is still very good, and it's not a loss to get it at the auction. In fact, what third Uncle Fang wanted to express was that if Fang Zhou didn't auction the sword for Li Zihan, he could bid for a third level energy crystal. Second Uncle Fang could naturally hear what third Uncle Fang meant. He smiled and said, third brother, the auction has been completed, so let's not talk about this. Although we can continue to bid for the third level energy crystal this time, the mutagenic factor has not been spent, which is not a big loss for us. It's not necessarily a bad thing, second brother, I know, third Uncle Fang still replied without any emotion. Fang Zhou glanced at the man from the Meng family and said unhappily, I won't continue. Hearing this, the young man from the Meng family had an unconcealed smile in his eyes. He thought Fang Zhou was his biggest opponent in the auction of the third level energy crystal this time, and now Fang Zhou has given up and will not continue to bid. Then, the third level energy crystal can be said to be in his pocket. Tian Xiaobing also felt that the price of the 34 tubes of mutagenic factors was appropriate, and he did not signal to the agent they arranged to raise the price. If the price was raised again, and the Meng family did not bid, then the auction of this level 3 energy crystal would be a failure. He did not want to see this happen in the scene he presided over. Just as he was about to announce that the 34 tubes were sold, a voice slowly sounded at this time. 36 tubes? These 4 simple words instantly attracted everyone's attention. One after another, eyes turned to the person who spoke. Who is that guy? I have never seen him before. Yes, I have never seen him before, and I have no impression of him at all. However, He is sitting in the first row, and he is sitting next to Li Zihan. He should be from the Li family, right? I don't know if he is from the Li family, but I can be sure that he must be related to Li Zihan, otherwise he would not be arranged to sit in that position. Everyone's eyes and discussions were focused on Lin Fan. The voice of raising the price just now was indeed shouted by Lin Fan. If he didn't have enough mutagenic factors, he wouldn't have planned to bid for the first level 3 energy crystal, and let others consume it first. But now they have enough mutagenic factors, so their goal is to bid for all 3 level 3 energy crystals. The price of 36 tubes is not unacceptable. Even if this price is a little higher than the 30 tubes offered by Liu Feng, it is not a big deal. It is worth it to get the level 3 energy crystal and quickly improve the strength to the level 3 evolver. Haha, I almost forgot about Lin Fan and the others. They didn't bid for any of the items that appeared before. I should have thought that they were waiting for the level 3 energy crystal. Feng Zhou looked at Lin Fan and thought to himself, it's better for the level 3 energy crystal to fall into the hands of Lin Fan than the Meng family. When Feng Zhou thought of this, the young man from the Meng family also looked at Lin Fan. There was both confusion and anger in his eyes. He was puzzled that he had never seen Lin Fan before. So why did this person want to compete with him for this level 3 energy crystal at this time? What made them angry was that the Meng family could only produce 34 tubes of mutagenic factors. Now Lin Fan had bid 36 tubes, and if he wanted to compete, he would have to bid 38 tubes. This number was completely beyond their tolerance. Asshole! Asshole! The young man from the Meng family clenched his fists and cursed in his heart. He thought that the third level energy crystal was in his pocket, but he never expected that at the last moment, a Cheng Yaojin would appear and raise the price again. It was like a cooked duck flying away. He did not doubt whether Lin Fan could really produce so many mutagenic factors. Lin Fan was sitting in the first row, and he would definitely not joke about such a thing. What's more, the Qinglong gang adopted the method of on-the-spot transaction. If he bid the price but could not produce the mutagenic factors, the Qinglong gang would not let it go. This kid can actually produce so many mutagenic factors. Liu Feng stood on the other side of the auction table, looking at Lin Fan with an incredible expression. Master Liu, what's wrong? Do you know this guy? Someone asked. Yes, Liu Feng nodded and said, this guy came to the trade fair with Li Zihan from the Li family. I know his strength. He is only a first-level evolver. Damn, how can a first-level evolver come up with so many mutagenic factors? Thinking of this, Liu Feng felt very unhappy. He was a second-level evolver, but the total number of mutagenic factors he had was less than 10 tubes. How could he feel comfortable with such a comparison? Moreover, he had specifically asked Lin Fan and the others whether they were going to bid for the third-level energy crystal, but Lin Fan and the others told him that they were just asking for fun. Now it seems that they clearly don't want to tell him the truth. Master Liu, you said that he came with Li Zihan. Maybe he is bidding for Li Zihan now, the man next to him continued. A first-level evolver cannot have so many mutagenic factors no matter what, but it is not surprising that the Li family, where Li Zihan is, can take them out. Yes, you are right. This kid can't have so many mutagenic factors. He must be bidding for Li Zihan, Liu Feng suddenly realized. Thinking of this, he felt a little more comfortable. After all, it's okay to be compared with someone stronger than you, but it's really unpleasant to be compared with someone weaker than you. On the auction table, Tian Xiaobing looked at Lin Fan. Although today was the first time he saw Lin Fan, from what Liu Feng told him before, he could also judge that Lin Fan was with Li Zihan. He was not too surprised about this. The Li family had just eliminated the banker and harvested the banker's resources. It was normal for them to take out so many mutagenic factors to participate in the auction. 36 tubes, are there any friends who want to bid? Tian Xiaobing asked. Half a minute later, no one raised the price. Okay, since no one has raised the price, then this level 3 energy crystal belongs to that friend. Please come up and complete the transaction, Tian Xiaobing announced. While Lin Fan was just now, he had already prepared 36 tubes of mutagenic factors. He walked to the auction table without delay and handed the 36 tubes of mutagenic factors to Tian Xiaobing. Tian Xiaobing checked it and confirmed that there was no problem, then handed the level 3 energy crystal to Lin Fan. Chapter 295 Come Again. Lin Fan took the level 3 energy crystal and checked it to see if it was normal. Although the Qinglong gang was the strongest in Tonghai province, no one stipulated that they would not play tricks. If the energy crystal they took out was damaged or had been used, they would not admit it if they did not explain it to him face to face. After checking and making sure that there was no problem with the level 3 energy crystal in his hand, Lin Fan turned around and walked back to the auction table. Of course, at the moment he turned around, he also looked at the other 2 level 3 energy crystals on the tray and noticed that there were 3 horizontal bars inside. Back to his seat, Lin Fan put away the level 3 energy crystal and looked at the auction table. On the stage, Tian Xiaobing picked up the second level 3 energy crystal and said with a smile, "It's the same as before. The starting price is 10 tubes of mutagenic factors. Friends who have ideas can bid." Compared with the first time, the competition this time was still extremely fierce. But later on, it became a competition between Fang Zhou and the young man from the Meng family. 32 tubes, Fang Zhou gritted his teeth and bid. 34 tubes, the young man from the Meng family shouted immediately. Fang Zhou was almost depressed, and could only glare at the young man from the Meng family with hatred. He could only take out so many mutagenic factors, and he really couldn't add more. The young man from the Meng family obviously didn't care about Fang Zhou's hateful look. He had a strong smile on his face, and then he looked in Lin Fan's direction. The first level 3 energy crystal was snatched away by Lin Fan, which also made him depressed for a while. But for the second level 3 energy crystal, he wanted to see how Lin Fan could snatch it away. He didn't believe that Lin Fan had so many mutagenic factors on him. Brother Lin Fan, look at that guy's face full of confidence, he really deserves a beating. Muran Shan looked at the young man from the Meng family with her beautiful eyes and said unhappily. Haha, his confidence will soon turn into anger. Lin Fan smiled faintly. He didn't raise the price immediately, and continued to wait and see. When Jian Xiaobing was about to announce the deal, and when the young man from the Meng family was even happier, he said, 36 tubes, wow. The entire venue was filled with an uproar. All eyes were focused on Lin Fan again. Did I hear correctly? This guy is bidding again. Fuck, where did he get so many mutagenic factors? Yeah, he just spent 36 tubes, and now he's asking for 36 more, which adds up to 72 tubes. Did he pick up his mutagenic factors? Why do I feel like he's just shouting for fun this time? He wants to deliberately piss off the Meng family, I don't know, but if the Meng family doesn't continue to raise the price, then he'll have to take out so many mutagenic factors to complete the deal. Otherwise, will the Qinglong gang give up? Harsh voices spread one after another. The young man from the Meng family was so angry that his body was almost shaking. He stared at Lin Fan fiercely and said in a bad tone, Boy, it is not allowed to bid randomly here. After bidding, you must produce so many mutagenic factors. Don't make yourself uncomfortable. Like many people guessed, he thought that Lin Fan was deliberately bidding to humiliate him, and couldn't help but remind him. Of course I know that it is not allowed to bid randomly, but who told you that I bid randomly? How do you know that I can't produce mutagenic factors? Lin Fan looked at the young man from the Meng family and said with a smile, Of course, if you are not convinced, you can continue to bid. After all, I think you also want to get the third level energy crystal. Hearing what Lin Fan said, the young man from the Meng family almost exploded on the spot. His face was purple. Damn it. If there are enough mutagenic factors to continue to bid, then he's still angry. There are still so many mutagenic factors. Liu Feng frowned tightly. He also thought that after Lin Fan or the Li family participated in the auction of the first level 3 energy crystal, they should not be able to produce more mutagenic factors. Even if they could, they would not be able to produce 36 tubes. That would be a full 72 tubes. But Lin Fan called out again, and it didn't look like he was just calling out for fun. Master Liu, if they can really produce so many mutagenic factors, I think they must have gained a lot from getting rid of the banker. Otherwise, with the resources of the Li family, they would never have so many mutagenic factors. The person next to Liu Feng spoke again. Yes, that makes sense. After being reminded by the other party, Liu Feng reacted and said, the banker itself is stronger than the Li family, but they were careless and fell into the hands of the Li family. If the banker is eliminated, all the banker's wishes will belong to the Li family. This must be the reason why the Li family has so many mutagenic factors. Liu Feng also felt that this was the only explanation that made sense, otherwise he really couldn't imagine how the Li family could have so many mutagenic factors. Yes, but I guess that their mutagenic factors are at most enough to auction 2 level 3 energy crystals, and there is absolutely no way there will be more, the man said. Yes, Liu Feng nodded. On the auction table, Tian Xiaobing's eyes fell on Lin Fan again. He and Liu Feng had the same guess. It should be that the Li family got rid of the banker and obtained the banker's resources, so they could have so many mutagenic factors. 36 tubes, is there anyone else bidding? Tian Xiaobing asked according to the rules. At this price, it is normal that no one bids. After asking symbolically, he did not waste time and immediately announced the deal, asking Lin Fan to go up to handle the transaction. Lin Fan continued to take the counted 36 tubes of mutagenic factors to the auction table. After Tian Xiaobing finished checking and handed the level 3 energy crystal to him, he turned around and walked back to his seat without delay. Everyone, there's only one level 3 energy crystal left. This is also the last thing to be auctioned today. Friends who want to get this level 3 energy crystal must not miss it, Tian Xiaobing said with a smile. He believed that Lin Fan and Li Zihan would never be able to produce the mutagenic factor of the third level 3 energy crystal. Therefore, he also wanted to see who would get the last level 3 energy crystal. The young man from the Meng family was very excited. The 2 level 3 energy crystals just now were snatched away by Lin Fan. There was really nothing he could do about it. After all, he could only produce 34 tubes of mutagenic factors at most. Although he was very unhappy and full of resentment that Lin Fan could produce more mutagenic factors than him, he could only admit defeat. However, for this last level 3 energy crystal, he didn't believe that Lin Fan had any mutagenic factors to compete with him for. Chapter 296 Borrowing from Someone. It's mine. The young man from the Meng family stared at the third level energy crystal, and his face seemed to be filled with the 4 words confident. The others also knew that the young man from the Meng family would not give up this last third level energy crystal. Simply, they were too lazy to bid, and their eyes looked at the young man from the Meng family from time to time. Feng Zhou felt that he had to lose with dignity. Anyway, he could indeed take out 32 tubes of mutagenic factors in his hand, so why couldn't he bid? So, he directly bid, 32 tubes. The venue became quiet, and everyone didn't expect that Feng Zhou would raise the price at once. Haha, this guy is really funny, Muran Sham couldn't help laughing. Lin Fan nodded, and also thought Feng Zhou was quite funny. But this is also good, it can make some people completely give up. The young man from the Meng family looked at Feng Zhou with a sneer on his face and said, Feng Zhou, why are you doing this? Anyway, you don't have as many mutagenic factors as I do. If I were you, I wouldn't even bother to bid. Feng Zhou also sneered and retorted, sorry, I just like to bid. If you don't like it, you don't have to bid. Humph, you can only show off your eloquence here, don't you have to watch me get the third level energy crystal? The young man from the Meng family snorted. Then you bid. I didn't stop you from bidding, Feng Zhou shrugged, looking indifferent. The young man from the Meng family retracted his gaze, looked at the auction table, and shouted loudly, 34 tubes? His bidding this time was louder than the previous 2 times, as if he was afraid that others wouldn't hear it. After being suppressed twice, it was finally his turn to turn over and be proud of himself. His excitement was not difficult to understand. Muran Shan was already covering her mouth and laughing. She could imagine how aggrieved the young man from the Meng family would be later. Lin Fan smiled and glanced at Muran Shan. Girl, you laughed as many times today as you did in the past half-month. Muran Shan stuck out her tongue and said, Brother Lin Fan, you are really funny. On the auction stage, Tian Xiaobing swept his eyes over the crowd. The price they had offered for the third level energy crystal was 30 tubes of mutagenic factors. The first 2 crystals were auctioned for 36 tubes of mutagenic factors, which made them very satisfied. Although the last third level energy crystal could not reach the price of 36 tubes, the 34 tubes of mutagenic factors offered by the young man from the Meng family were also very good. It was just 2 tubes less, which was not unacceptable. Thinking of this, Tian Xiaobing picked up the third level energy crystal and prepared to announce the transaction. However, at this critical moment, a voice rang out. 36 tubes? As soon as this voice spread, the entire auction venue fell silent. Many people even had a feeling that they were listening to a repeater. Here it comes again? 36 tubes again? Did I hear it wrong? That guy made another bid. You heard it right, I heard it too, damn it. What the hell? Where on earth did he get so many mutagenic factors from, damn it? He bid 3 times, is he going to take all 3 energy crystals? If I were a member of the Meng family, I would probably be pissed off to death. That's not the case. He was intercepted once, intercepted twice, and thought it would be his turn the third time, but he was intercepted again. He couldn't bear it if he had a bad mentality. Look, the face of the Meng family kid is almost black with anger. Everyone was talking about it, and some people paid special attention to the face of the young man from the Meng family. Damn it. Are you kidding me? The young man from the Meng family clenched his fists, his nails almost sinking into his palms, and his eyes like a venomous snake stared at Lin Fan, as if he was going to bite Lin Fan at any time. Sorry, I'm not interested in men, and I don't have the heart to play with you, Lin Fan smiled. Ha ha ha. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the venue was silent for a moment, and then burst into laughter. They didn't expect that Lin Fan would respond to the young man from the Meng family with such a naughty word. However, Lin Fan added, "This is an auction. Whoever can afford the price will be the big winner. Your angry performance will not bring you any benefits, don't you think? Too much? This kid is really too much." A middle-aged man from the Meng family stood up. His face was extremely livid, and he was obviously also very angry about Lin Fan's operation. Then, he looked at everyone in the venue and said loudly, "I, Meng Yuan, hereby declare that whoever is willing to lend me 10 tubes of mutagenic factors from my Meng family will definitely return it double within a month. If you can't do it, then our Meng family will become the target of your arbitrary abuse." Meng Yuan is the uncle of the young man from the Meng family. In the Meng family, it can be said that he can represent half of the family and the kind of person who has the final say. He really couldn't bear this bad breath anymore. It would be fine if it happened once or twice, but if it happened again for the third time and Lin Fan suppressed him, the reputation of their Meng family would also be greatly affected. This trade fair itself was attended by people from all the big and small families in Zhonghe province. Everyone was paying close attention to this matter. After it got out, how could the Meng family still have the face to stay in Zhonghe province? Brother Meng, I believe in your character and I believe that your Meng family will keep their word. I am willing to lend you 10 tubes of mutagenic factors. Another middle-aged man stood up and said. Thank you, Brother Zheng. Meng Yuan looked at the middle-aged man who was willing to lend the mutagenic factors. He first thanked him, and then said, there are so many people here to testify today. Within a month, I will definitely return 20 tubes of mutagenic factors to Brother Zheng. Haha, no problem, no problem. The middle-aged man surnamed Zheng laughed heartily, and without much delay, he walked towards Meng Yuan and lent him the agreed 10 tubes of mutagenic factors. Uncle Zheng, thank you. The young man from the Meng family also thanked him. You're welcome. The middle-aged man surnamed Zheng reached out and patted the young man from the Meng family on the shoulder, then turned and walked back to his seat. After borrowing 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, the young man from the Meng family was obviously confident. He looked at Lin Fan again, his eyes revealing a proud look. The frustration he had just suffered was all dissipated at this moment. Boy, let me see how you can fight me. The young man from the Meng family sneered in his heart. Then, he continued to raise the price and said, 38 tubes, too shameless. They actually asked others to borrow. Muran Shan clenched her little fists tightly, feeling a little indignant. We can also borrow. Li Zihan took a deep breath and said, Feng Zhou will not participate in the auction anyway. If we borrow from him, we should be able to borrow it, and then we can pay him back double. Chapter 297 Delay will lead to changes. The Meng family had already borrowed it from someone. Li Zihan felt that if they wanted to compete for the third level 3 energy crystal, they would have to borrow it from someone as well. Yes, Sister Zihan is right. Feng Zhou is also very unhappy with that guy. If we borrow it from him to compete, he will definitely agree. Muran Shan nodded her head quickly. Muran Zhu nodded and said, it's a good idea. However, Lin Fan said, don't worry. Did he borrow 10 tubes of mutagenic factors? I want to see how much more he can spend. After he finished speaking, Lin Fan continued to raise the price and said, 40 tubes? Everyone was extremely shocked by Lin Fan's behavior of raising the price again. They thought that Lin Fan would definitely not raise the price again after knowing that a Meng family had borrowed mutagenic factors. Who would have thought that Lin Fan did not give up? Most importantly, they were still surprised at Lin Fan's strong background. Even Liu Feng's eyes widened a lot. He didn't expect that Lin Fan and Li Zihan would carry so many mutagenic factors. Thinking of this, he regretted even more that he didn't kill Lin Fan on the way. If he had killed him, he would have been able to take down Muran Zhu, Muran Shan and Li Zihan on the way. In that case, wouldn't all these mutagenic factors belong to him? One more day, Liu Feng's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he thought secretly, tomorrow is the end of the trade fair, little bastard, I will let you be arrogant for one more day, and tomorrow night will be your death. He already had a comprehensive plan to get rid of Lin Fan tomorrow night. Moreover, this plan also received the support and approval of Yan Xiaobing, so he could do it more boldly. The young man from the Meng family looked at Lin Fan from a distance, and it seemed that he could detect a breath of gunpowder in his eyes. Of course, the most important thing is that he felt a momentum of success from Lin Fan's tone and expression when he raised the price. He did not raise the price impulsively, but kept calm and thought about it. They had just borrowed 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, plus the 34 tubes they had, that was a total of 44 tubes. At this time, Lin Fan had already bid for 40 tubes. If he continued to bid as normal and bid for 42 tubes, it would be fine if Lin Fan did not continue to bid. But if Lin Fan continued to bid and bid for 44 tubes, wouldn't it exceed the total number they had, and he would not even have the chance to bid again? No, this guy is so determined to get it. If I bid for 42, he will definitely bid for it. Instead of that, I might as well bid for 44 directly, and he will have to bid for 46, even if he wants to get this third-level energy crystal, he has to spend more money, the young man from the Meng family brainstormed. Then, he told his analysis to Meng Yuan. After listening, Meng Yuan felt that it made sense and nodded, you are right. We can't let him lead us by the nose and directly bid for 44 tubes, okay, uncle. The young man from the Meng family nodded and immediately bid, 44 tubes, the venue was once again in a heated discussion. 44 tubes, they raised the price by 4 tubes at once. Yes, they used up all the 10 tubes of mutagenic factors they just borrowed. Today's auction is so exciting. I have never seen such an exciting auction before. The Meng family is willing to spend so much money. You know, they have to pay back double the 10 tubes of mutagenic factors they borrowed within a month, that is, 20 tubes to the Zhang family. Yes, the 44 tubes being bid now can be said to be 54 tubes, that's true. Lin Fan, that guy is about to be driven crazy by you, right? Murenzhu couldn't help but say. He's gambling, Lin Fan said, if he just raised the price by 2 tubes to 42 tubes, then if I raise the price again, it will be 44 tubes, and they will not be able to bid for 46 tubes, so, he simply raised the price by 4 tubes at once. Betting that I will not continue to raise the price. Brother Lin Fan, do you want to continue to raise the price? Muren Shen asked. Lin Fan, how about I ask Fang Zhou now? Let's borrow the mutagenic factor first, it will be safer this way, Li Zihan asked. As soon as the two of them finished talking, before Lin Fan could speak, Fang Zhou on the other side had already stood up from his seat. Fang Zhou looked at the position and said loudly, Lin Fan, I can provide you with a mutagenic factor here at will, and you don't need to pay it back double. Fang Zhou's words simply ignited the atmosphere of the whole place. The eyes of the young man from the Meng family were about to spit fire. He turned his side and immediately locked onto Fang Zhou, saying angrily, Fang Zhou, what do you mean? Do you have to go against our Meng family? Originally, he was suppressed twice by Lin Fan, which made him angry enough. It was not easy to borrow 10 tubes of mutagenic factor, and he wanted to burst back the suppression of the previous 2 times, but he didn't expect Fang Zhou to come out and interfere again. Moreover, when they asked someone to borrow the mutagenic factor just now, they said to pay it back double. It would be fine if Fang Zhou was willing to lend the mutagenic factor to Lin Fan, but he insisted on emphasizing that he didn't need to pay it back double. Isn't this obviously exposing their scars? What? I am willing to lend the mutagenic factor to my friend. Does that mean I am against you? Fang Zhou said indifferently, is it okay if I have a good relationship with my friend, you? The young man from the Meng family was furious, his face was blue and purple, changing very quickly. It can be seen that he was really angry. Lin Fan glanced at Fang Zhou and said with a smile, thank you for your kindness, but you don't have to lend it this time. Don't have to lend it? Everyone was stunned. Could it be that Lin Fan could come up with more mutagenic factors? The Meng family has already bid for 44. And if they continue to bid, it will be at least 46. Isn't this number of mutagenic factors too scary? Even if the Li family has integrated the resources of the Zhuang family, they shouldn't have so many mutagenic factors. Where did they get the mutagenic factors from? Tian Xiaobin frowned and thought secretly, it seems that I have to investigate it carefully. Not only Tian Xiaobin was puzzled by this, even the leader of the Qinglong gang, Duang Fangling, who was sitting behind the auction table without saying a word, began to become interested. Li family? I have to keep a close eye on them. Dongfangling's eyes flashed with murderous intent. After the trade fair is over and the integration is completed, we must go to Zhonghe City as quickly as possible. We can't let the Li family continue to develop like this, otherwise it is very likely to be out of control in the future. Yes, Dongfangling felt that the performance of the Li family was a little beyond his expectations. If the Li family is allowed to grow and develop, it is very likely to verify the 4 words delay will lead to changes. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 Deliberate. Lin Fan didn't know that his performance at the trade fair had attracted the attention of Dongfangling and Bian Xiaobing. Of course, to be more precise, it was his performance that made Dongfangling and Bian Xiaobing pay attention to the Li family. After all, they didn't think that such a young man like Lin Fan could have the ability to produce such a large number of mutagenic factors. He could produce them because he had the support of the Li family. Brother Lin Fan, you don't want Fangzhou's mutagenic factors. Are you afraid of losing face? Murin Shan whispered. Lin Fan, if you don't borrow mutagenic factors from Fangzhou, the mutagenic factors we have won't be enough to compete, Li Zihan reminded him hurriedly. She felt that Murin Shan's worries were reasonable, and whispered, I'll go to Fangzhou to borrow them, and I won't say it was you who borrowed them. It's understandable that men sometimes love face. The 3 girls all expressed their understanding of this. Moreover, it's normal for Lin Fan to feel embarrassed in front of so many people. However, they all guessed what Lin Fan meant. Lin Fan smiled and shook his head, saying, this has nothing to do with face. The main thing is that I don't plan to bid any more. Huh? Murin Zhu, Murin Shan, and Li Zihan were all shocked. Not planning to bid anymore? Is this giving up the bid? Lin Fan smiled slightly, without explaining too much at this moment, but turned his gaze back to the young man from the Meng family and said slowly, you have already called out 44 tubes of mutagenic factors. If I continue to raise the price, it would be a bit unfair. Forget it, I'll give it to you, but I still have to say that if I didn't know clearly that you borrowed 10 tubes of mutagenic factors, then when you called out 38 tubes of mutagenic factors, I wouldn't have increased it, because I don't have that many mutagenic factors on me. I'm sorry to make you spend so much more to get that 3rd level energy crystal. I hope you don't mind. Ahem. When Lin Fan finished speaking, the young man from the Meng family's face had completely turned dark and dull. He felt that his chest was holding back a breath that he couldn't spit out or swallow, which stimulated him to cough violently and almost coughed out all the blood in his body. Angry. Incomparable anger. The young man from the Meng family didn't expect that he was fooled by Lin Fan. From the tone of Lin Fan's bidding, he thought that Lin Fan was determined to get the third level energy crystal. So, he raised the price by 4 tubes of mutagenic factors at once, raising the price to 44 tubes of mutagenic factors. What he thought at the time was that even if Lin Fan was determined to get the 3rd level energy crystal, he would let Lin Fan spend more mutagenic factors. Unexpectedly, this was exactly what Lin Fan wanted. From the moment they borrowed it and continued to raise the price, Lin Fan gave up the idea of bidding. That time, the price was raised purely to calculate the mutagenic factors in their hands. Thinking about this problem clearly, how could he not be angry? Meng Yuan's face also became particularly ugly at this moment. Their dignified Meng family, such a large family, was actually played around by a young boy like Lin Fan. As some people said, although the price was 44 tubes of mutagenic factors, it should be noted that 10 of them were borrowed from the Zhang family. And in front of everyone, they said that they would return the borrowed 10 tubes of mutagenic factors double within a month. That is to say, in order to get this level 3 energy crystal, they actually spent 54 tubes of mutagenic factors to win it. Oh my god. He actually raised the price on purpose. The people of the Meng family must be so angry, right? They didn't have to spend so many mutagenic factors originally, but now they have spent so much more for nothing. You can't blame others for this. It was the people of the Meng family who wanted to raise the price by 4 tubes at a time. I can only say that the people of the Meng family got carried away. 54 tubes of mutagenic factors were needed to win the bid. This price is really high. Yes, The previous two crystals were one with 36 tubes of mutagenic factors. The Meng family spent 18 more than others. Anyone would be furious. I think they have this grudge. The Meng family will never give up easily. Everyone talked about it. Lin Fan obviously didn't care about these voices. He had 2 level 3 energy crystals, which were enough for him to break through and become a level 3 evolver. At that time, what could the Meng family do to him? He was not afraid of the Meng family at all. Ha ha ha! Feng Zhou was still standing there, but he couldn't help but burst out laughing. He was just thinking that Lin Fan shouldn't have so many mutagenic factors, but Lin Fan refused his help to provide mutagenic factors, which made him puzzled for a while. As a result, the reversal of the next second, coupled with the expression of the young man from the Meng family, made him feel so good that he couldn't hold back his laughter. Murin Shan laughed so hard that her stomach hurt. While laughing, she said, "Brother Lin Fan, your trick is really cruel. Look at that guy. If he coughs again, I think he will cough to death." Although Murin Zhu and Li Zihan didn't laugh as exaggeratedly as Murin Shan, they both had deep smiles on their faces. It must be said that the scene of the young man from the Meng family being angry is really funny. This kid turned out to be playing tricks. Tian Xiaobing was silent in his heart. Interesting, Duang Fangling also had a thought in his mind. Anyway, with Lin Fan's help, the price of this mutagenic factor was finally raised to 44 tubes of mutagenic factor. Compared to the 30 tubes they had in mind before, it was 14 tubes more. Okay, the young man from the Meng family coughed for half a minute before he stopped coughing. He looked at Lin Fan with extreme resentment, said 3 good words in a row, and then said, "I will remember you. You wait for me. You let me get the mutagenic factor of Beihua. I will definitely make you pay the price." "Well, I'll wait, but the premise is that you don't get angry to death. You have to live well before you can settle the score with me." Lin Fan nodded with a smile. Asshole, the young man from the Meng family was angry again, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. "Xiao Meng, calm down. He is deliberately provoking you. You have to know that this is the territory of the Qinglong Gang. The trade fair has not ended yet. If you take action, the Qinglong Gang will definitely not let you off easily." Meng Yuan reached out and held the young man, whispering, "Remember this grudge first, and deal with him later. I don't believe that they will not leave this base. When they leave this base, it is time for us to take action. By then, the Qinglong Gang will no longer care about this matter." Hearing this, the young man of the Meng family nodded slightly, took a deep breath, and gradually calmed down. "Uncle, I understand," the young man of the Meng family said in a deep voice. Chapter 299 A Deal. The leader and deputy leader of the Qinglong Gang were still on the auction stage. Even though the Meng family was a big family, they didn't dare to act rashly in front of these two people. When it's time to be calm, you still have to stay calm, otherwise you will definitely get into trouble. Tian Xiaobing stood on the auction stage, a smile flashed in his eyes, and said, "Are there any friends who want to bid? If not, then this level 3 energy crystal is considered a deal. The price of 44 tubes of mutagenic factors is obviously not something that any fool would bid. Moreover, in this case, after the price is raised, the people from the Meng family will not continue. If they are asked to take out so many mutagenic factors at that time, they will not be able to take them out, and how can the Qinglong Gang easily bypass it? Okay, I declare that the last level 3 energy crystal has been traded. Please come on stage to handle it," Tian Xiaobing said. The young man from the Meng family did not hesitate, stepped onto the auction stage, and handed the 44 tubes of mutagenic factors to Tian Xiaobing. Tian Xiaobing still checked it again, and only handed the level 3 energy crystal to the young man from the Meng family after confirming that there was no problem. The young man from the Meng family took the 3rd level energy crystal and turned to walk down the auction platform. He couldn't help but look at Lin Fan. The murderous intent in his eyes was exposed without any concealment. It is conceivable how angry he was after being tricked by Lin Fan. Lin Fan didn't care about the murderous eyes of the young man from the Meng family. Instead, he responded with a nonchalant smile. Seeing the nonchalant attitude on Lin Fan's face, the young man from the Meng family was extremely angry. But he remembered what Meng Yuan had just said and would not do anything excessive here, so as not to cause unnecessary trouble to the Meng family. When the young man from the Meng family returned to his seat, Tian Xiaobing spoke again. "Everyone, today's trade fair is over here. Tomorrow morning, it will still start at 8 o'clock. I hope everyone will arrive on time, As Tian Xiaobing's voice fell, everyone stood up from their seats and began to leave the auction venue one after another. Of course, when they left, they were still discussing various topics. And among these topics, the most discussed, without a doubt, was still related to the 3 energy crystals. The Meng family had completely become a joke that people talked about. Let's go back to. Lin Fan glanced around and saw that half of the people in the venue had already left, so it was not so crowded. Brother Lin Fan, there is another trade fair tomorrow. Should we continue to attend? Muran Shan asked in a low voice. Let's talk about this issue after we go back. Don't discuss it here. Lin Fan gave Muran Shan a look. Muran Shan understood and said softly, "Oh," and stopped talking about this topic. Lin Fan, suddenly, a shout came from the side. No need to guess, you know it was Feng Zhou who was calling them. Feng Zhou did not go back with Uncle Feng and Uncle Feng, but ran to Lin Fan and the others to go together. In his hand, he was still holding the sword that he had obtained at the auction at the trade fair. You did a great job just now. Feng Zhou walked up and first praised Lin Fan, and then said, that kid from the Meng family. He acted like he was worth 2.5 million, he deserved to be cheated. Feng Zhou's being cheated naturally refers to the fact that the young man from the Meng family spent so much mutagenic factors on the last level 3 energy crystal. Although he did not personally make the young man of the Meng family suffer, Lin Fan made the young man of the Meng family suffer, and he also felt proud. No, it's better not to mention it. Once I mention it, I think of his expression at that time, which makes me laugh to death. Muran Sham couldn't help laughing again. Her words caused Muran Zhu, Li Zihan, and even Lin Fan and Feng Zhou to think of Feng Zhou's expression, and they all laughed happily. After the joy, Feng Zhou walked in front of Li Zihan and said, this sword is for you, for me. Li Zihan was stunned. Yes, when I was bidding, I thought that this sword should be given to you, Feng Zhou said. I thought you were going to bid for it yourself. Li Zihan was a little embarrassed. This thing is more expensive, I can't accept it. She knew what Feng Zhou meant to her, so she felt that she shouldn't accept Feng Zhou's gift. After all, if she accepted it, Feng Zhou would probably misunderstand her thoughts and think that she was interested, and the misunderstanding would be even deeper. She just wanted to maintain a good relationship with the Fang family, so that the two families could join forces and form an alliance to resist the Qinglong gang. It's not expensive, it's not expensive. I bought it for you. If you don't accept it, I don't know what to do with it. Feng Zhou shook his head. Lin Fan could see Li Zihan's embarrassment. It was not a solution for the two of them to remain deadlocked. After thinking for a while, Lin Fan stepped forward and said, Feng Zhou, no matter how you look at it, this sword was bought with 8 tubes of mutagenic factors. If you say it's not expensive, then what can be called expensive? While speaking, Lin Fan looked at Li Zihan and said, I think it's better to do this. It just so happens that you don't have any suitable close-range weapons to use now. This sword looks quite suitable for you. Otherwise, you can give him the mutagenic factors that Feng Zhou spent, which is equivalent to buying it from him. This is the best solution Lin Fan can think of at the moment. In this way, Li Zihan did not receive Feng Zhou's things for nothing, and Feng Zhou also got a reward. How can I take the mutagenic factor? Then it won't be a gift from me. Feng Zhou shook his head immediately. However, Li Zihan thought that Lin Fan's idea was good. Feng Zhou, I can accept this sword, but you must also accept the mutagenic factor, otherwise I will never take this sword, Li Zihan emphasized in a serious tone. As Lin Fan said, she really didn't have a suitable close-range weapon at the moment. She had seen how sharp and sturdy this sword was, and the price of 8 tubes of mutagenic factor was reasonable. Moreover, she didn't participate in anything at today's trade fair, so buying this sword from Feng Zhou was barely a gain. Li Zihan said so Feng Zhou had no reason to insist, and nodded and said, okay, Zihan, I'll sell you this sword. He also understood Li Zihan's temper and personality. If he didn't agree to the deal, Li Zihan would definitely not accept his sword. He didn't need it himself, and it was useless to keep it with him. Selling it to Li Zihan would at least be useful. Yes. Li Zihan did not delay, and immediately took out 8 tubes of mutagenic factors from his pocket and handed them to Feng Zhou. Here you go. Feng Zhou took the mutagenic factors with one hand and handed the sword to Li Zihan with the other. The two completed the transaction. Li Zihan waved the sword twice and said with satisfaction, not bad, it's quite easy to use, this sword is indeed suitable for girls. Lin Fan nodded. Next, they did not delay here any longer, and walked back to the accommodation area. Chapter 300 Leaving Tonight. After returning to the accommodation area, Fang Zhou entered the villa together. After chatting for a few words, he said goodbye and left. After attending the trade fair for a whole day, although he sat in his seat instead of standing, he was still mentally exhausted. He could see that Li Zihan and the others were a little tired, and he was embarrassed to disturb them too much. You go and rest first, I'll call you later. Lin Fan looked at Murengzhu, Murengshan and Li Zihan who were sitting on the sofa, and said slowly, "Call us later." The three girls were all stunned, obviously not quite understanding what Lin Fan meant. "We'll leave here tonight," Lin Fan pondered. "What? Brother Lin Fan, you said you're leaving tonight." Murengshan's body trembled. "Speak softly, don't let the people who are monitoring us outside hear it." Lin Fan made a shushing gesture. "Brother Lin Fan, isn't there a trade fair tomorrow? Why are we leaving tonight?" Murengshan asked in a low voice. Murengzhu and Li Zihan also looked at Lin Fan curiously. They had said before that they would leave after the trade fair was over, but now Lin Fan said that he would leave tonight. Obviously, the plan had changed a lot. Lin Fan's eyes fixed and said, "We have shown our financial strength at the trade fair today. The Qinglong gang will definitely pay attention to us. If we don't leave tonight, we will not be able to leave after the trade fair is over tomorrow." "Brother Lin Fan, do you mean that if we leave after the trade fair is over tomorrow, the Qinglong gang will just keep us?" Murengshan asked. "Yes, that's what you mean." Lin Fan nodded and explained solemnly, "Although I have been the one making the bids at the trade fair today, they don't think I have so many mutagenic factors to participate. They definitely think I am bidding for the Li family. The Li family has already eliminated the banker, and now it has shown such strong financial strength. If I were the Qinglong gang, I would not let the Qinglong gang continue to grow, but, with so many big and small family forces here, they dare not do it too obviously, right?" Murengshan asked again. This question was raised by Lin Fan himself. "They have gained so much this time, and we have become a thorn in their eyes. When there is bound to be a battle between the two sides, will they still care about anything else?" Lin Fan pondered. "Leave us here, get the real information about the Li family from us, and use us alive to threaten the Li family with Zihan. This is their next goal, so, we must leave here tonight. After tonight, if we want to leave again, I don't know how many times the difficulty will increase." Since showing off his financial strength in the transaction today, Lin Fan has been thinking about this problem. After thinking about it, he felt that they must leave tonight. The most important thing is that he also felt a murderous gaze at the trade fair. He used his powerful senses to search for it, but found that the murderous gaze was actually coming from Liu Feng. As the head of the Qinglong gang, Liu Feng looked at him with murderous intent. From a certain perspective, this can already represent a certain intention of the Qinglong gang. Taking all factors into consideration, leaving tonight is the best way. After hearing Lin Fan's analysis, Murengzhu, Murengshan and Li Zihan also understood. Li Zihan frowned and said, "This is their territory. If they want to attack us, they have the advantage whether it is openly or secretly. We can leave tonight. Anyway, we have obtained 2 level 3 energy crystals, but, Lin Fan, if we leave, can we still drive the RV away?" Murengzhu's pretty face became slightly solemn. "Yes, Brother Lin Fan, it is relatively convenient for us to escape from the city wall, but if we escape from the city wall, it means that we have to abandon the RV, Murengshan said. The RV has been with them since the beginning of the Doomsday outbreak, and it is really hard to abandon it suddenly. Lin Fan smiled slightly and said, "Who said we are going to abandon the RV? Then we just drive out." Murengshan was shocked. "This," Murengzhu asked, "there is a certain distance from the parking lot to the base gate. If we drive over there, it will definitely attract their attention. By then, the gate will be blocked and we will definitely have no chance to get out." "Of course I know this." Lin Fan smiled again. "So, we don't have to go through the main gate of their base. Can't we go through the back door?" "Back door?" Murengzhu, Murengshan and Li Zihan's eyes flickered. "Yes, the back door." Lin Fan nodded and said, "When I took Andy out before, I noticed a back door of this base. Although there are guards at a back door, the guards are obviously much weaker than the main gate. When the time comes, we can drive over there and don't have to worry about anything. We can just rush out, and, the most important thing is that the parking lot is not too far from the back door. I roughly calculated that it is about 1,000 meters. With the speed of our RV, 1,000 meters is not a distance at all." Since they are going to leave tonight, Lin Fan has naturally considered a thorough plan. However, this plan cannot include Fang Zhou. It's not that I don't believe Fang Zhou, but the fewer people know about this kind of thing, the better. Besides, Fang Zhou is still staying at the Fang family. If the news leaks out accidentally, it will not be good for anyone. Okay, then let's do as you say. When are we leaving? Li Zihan nodded and asked. She was very satisfied with Lin Fan's plan. Even if she thought about it, she couldn't think of a better plan than what Lin Fan said. Don't worry, it's still early now. If you want to leave, wait until midnight, when everyone is drowsy and relaxed. Lin Fan glanced at the room and said, you go and rest for a while and get your spirits up. I will wake you up when I leave. Then don't you want to rest for a while? Murengzu asked with concern. I'm not tired, you can just go and rest, Lin Fan said. Seeing Lin Fan's insistence, Murengzu didn't say anything more. She nodded lightly and said, well, let's go and rest first. After the voice fell, the three of them did not delay any more and immediately returned to the room. They all knew that although Lin Fan's plan was very meticulous, it was inevitable that there would be conflicts with the Qinglong gang during the departure. Keeping their mental state in good shape would also help in the conflicts that would occur at that time. After Murengzu and the other two returned to their rooms to rest, Lin Fan took out the 2 third-level energy crystals that he had obtained at the auction today. Whether you can break through to the 3rd-level evolver depends on you. Looking at the 2 third-level energy crystals in his hand, Lin Fan's eyes also showed a hint of expectation. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.